Welcome. Oh my goodness. Top of the week. You are listening to, you are watching, you are witnessing the afternoon show. I am Atiba Buchanan.
I am LaDonna Ray.
Can you turn her up a little bit? There we go. Hey, LaDonna Ray, how are you?
I'm doing swell-tastic. As
There
a
you
matter
go.
of fact, I'm glad to be back here. It's Monday.
Yes, it is Monday. Spring, I think, is done playing with us.
Mhm.
It seems to be on the way. I've looked at the forecast for the next week, and by Friday, we're talking 50s and 60s. It's looking pretty, and I think it sustains through the weekend. So I'm pretty excited about that because this was, I mean, we've had tougher winters, but this one was tough.
Yeah, it was. And I tell you what else is tough. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, be sure to share the show. We really appreciate that. And put your comments into the comment section so that we can get a hold of your comments and your thoughts.
Absolutely. And please share the show. You guys showed out last week. I just did the Facebook numbers for
Yeah.
last week. Oh my goodness. The shares off the chain, the views, everything was just a fantastic week. So thank you for joining us, especially at our time doing Operation Push. Those numbers were just incredible. So
And it was a good way to end
it really
Black
was.
History Month.
It really was.
Yeah, so thank you.
Let's keep it up. I just opened the phone lines. They were closed, but they're open now. And you're going to want to call because we have a great guest joining on the live line, the executive director of the LaGuardia Burns Hope Center, Mr. Roderick Wilson. And he only comes on because he's fighting about something. Somebody needs some protecting. Somebody needs a voice. Somebody needs some uplifting. And he is here today to talk about a wrong that he is potentially seeing. Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you, and LaDonna, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me put on my glasses. All right. So let's talk about this 78. I love what you say here in the press release. It says the 78 represents the many ways private development is done wrong in Chicago. The private sale of land to an international developer, how the land went from one alder to another. And this is the most important part, and how community input is not required for private development. This development will reshape land use, housing, transportation, and the local economy for all of Chicago. Without strong protections, and this is definitely a fact, projects of this scale always accelerate gentrification and displacement. Let's talk about it. Mr. Dixon, I have another guest named Roderick Dixon.
Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, excuse me. Let's talk about it, Mr. Wilson. Tell me about this project and why it's so problematic.
So this is the thing, the 78 is an undeveloped area, mainly, railroads and industrial. And so the idea was, it's such a large area, it could be considered the 78th community of Chicago. Chicago got 77 neighborhoods. This could be the 78 because it's so big. It stretches from Roosevelt to 18th Street, from Clark to Halsted.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little piece of area. So the thing is, they're developing a new, and Related Midwest has the contract to be the developing company. The Chicago Fire, which is owned by, a billionaire that was able to get 25 acres of public housing land a few years ago to build training facilities, is saying they're going to build $750 million soccer stadium there. Now they're using their own money for this, and that's great. But what we're saying, though, there is going to be public investment. The City Council 2019 approves $750 million in TIF funds for this project. If we're going to be using taxpayer dollars, taxpayers should have some say about it.
Did you say $750 million?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You said, hold on. You said
Yeah,
three-quarters of $1 billion.
That's right.
Okay, continue.
And so 550 is supposed to go for infrastructure, building the roads, the wiring, the easements, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's still taxpayer dollars. And the city doesn't have to put that money in. The developer can put that money in. So we're saying if you're going to use our dollars, our taxpayer dollars, we should have some say on what that community looks like. We should have a community benefits agreement, which is a binding contract that speaks to like housing, jobs, contracts, so that it's I think it's a twofold thing we're looking at. We're looking at the neighboring communities like Pilsen, Chinatown, and some of, of course, South Loop, and then a little bit of Bronzeville around the Cermak area may be affected by it. But we're saying, though, also, not just those areas, though, but because you're using tax dollars, we don't want an elitist community development when we can't afford to live there. If you're using taxpayer dollars, don't create something I can't live there. So we want to make sure there's affordable housing. We want to make sure there's some public housing there. Because if you're going to use $750 million of taxpayer dollars, it should be inclusive for everyone. So that's one of our main concerns. But what we're doing, though, we're reaching out to residents. We'll be doing a series of town halls, getting input, talking to thousands of residents just about what they want to see in a community benefits agreement. And then we'll begin to meet with aldermen about that. But first, right now, we're announcing the coalition. It's a multiracial coalition. It's New Jimmy Burns Hope Center. It is People Matter, and CBCAC, which is Coalition for a Better Chinese American Community. And we're coming together to work on this together.
Right.
Have there been concerns about community participation? And if so, why is that?
Because it's usually limited. So when they were trying to decide whether the what is it called? The fire could have a stadium down there, now the development sits in the 3rd ward. It was in the 25th ward where Alderman Byron Feature Lopez, who supported the CBA, he was at the press conference today, but during the redistricting, it got moved to the 3rd ward. But she has had, some community engagement sessions, but mainly with homeowners associations. And we get that, they're down closer because they're in the South Loop, but it ain't just about right there. It's about tax dollars. So this needs to be a broader conversation because all of our tax dollars are going to be used for this project. So it's going to impact the neighboring communities, but also it impacts all of us because those dollars could be going to something else. And if they're going to go to this, we need to make sure what we're getting out of it.
All right, you took us right to the break. It's 3:17, but the phone lines are open, 773-591-1690. Otherwise, we're going to come back with you on the other side because LaDonna and I have a gang more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
All right, great. We'll be right back.
Cuba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is Congressman Danny Davis. For decades, the Cook County Assessor's Office was plagued by corruption. That's all changed with Fritz Kagi. Fritz Kagi brought real transparency to the Assessor's Office, and he's made it easier and more affordable for the people who need it most. Seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. Under Fritz, hundreds of thousands of residents have seen lower tax bills. And for many others, he's kept increases down by making sure wealthy commercial property owners finally pay their fair share. This is what reform looks like. Honest, accountable, and on the side of working people. I'm Danny Davis. Join me to support Democrat Fritz Kagi for Cook County Assessor. Primary day is Tuesday, March 17th.
Paid for by Friends for Fritz.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Maticus, the Black Spartan Show. It's the Black Talk Check-In every day from 12 to 3 on your favorite radio station, WVON. We are speaking Black power to Black people every single day. Facebook Live, join us. The conversation is blasting there. Share it with everybody you know. This talk needs to be heard all around the world because it's the Black Power Station, 1690 AM, WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. That's 800-433-8909. Or simply visit godra.com.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Have you heard that there's an ad listed in the classifieds? Trying to breathe, it only says, I'm looking for the perfect guy. Don't you know that I've been
Welcome back to the afternoon show on WVON 1690. Make sure you hit those phone lines. You can dial us at 773-591-1690. We are talking to Executive Director for the 78 project.
LaGuardia Burns Hope Center.
Thank you very much. And his name is Roderick Wilson. Roderick, before we went to break, I asked you a question. I asked you if there's a lack of community involvement, and if so, why? But I want to expound on that just a little bit and see if it's a situation where the residents are not participating, or if they're just not being invited to come to these meetings until after the deal is done, and then it's presented to them about the outcome later.
And I think it depends on what residents you're talking about. Again, for when they were trying to decide whether they're going to let the fire build the stadium down there was participation, but I don't think it was as inclusive as it needs to be, because I think it was focused on the South Loop residents mainly because it's closest to them, and I get that. But it's tax dollars. That's the thing. When we're dealing with tax dollars, that's everybody's conversation. That's more than just the surrounding neighbor. Now, again, and I'm not taking nothing from the surrounding. We got to make sure that there's not disparate impact on those surrounding neighborhoods anyway, like Pilsen, Chinatown, South Loop, near South, right on the edge of Bronzeville as well. We need to make sure all of the residents are included in that. So to answer your question, I think, yes, there was some. Do I think it was as inclusive as it needs to be? I don't think it was. And are you asking is it that people are not just coming out? And that is sometimes the case too. But I think, for me, that's where we come in at. We make the bridge between that. We help go out and we go not the extra mile, but we do what it takes to get people involved and get people engaged. Instead of just sending the email out, come out and see this, and we're going to be talking about this. Go knock on some doors, call some people, try to, reach them to get their input, So that's what we're saying we're going to do. So our goal is to reach out to 15,000, 20,000 residents just in the third ward alone to get their input on this. And that's what we're beginning to start that process now. But again, everyone has some say on this. And we don't think that you're going to use tax dollars to build a community that low-income and working families cannot live in. And you're taking their tax dollars to help build it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very well. I want to ask you about the CBA. You want a collective benefits agreement. Can you
Not collective, community.
Community. Thank you. I'm sorry. Community benefits agreement. Thank you so much for the correction.
Yeah.
That said, can you give me an example of the last time that you know of that what was an example of a good CBA? And also, before you answer that part, if you could just tell the listeners what you would expect to be in a good CBA. How do you define that as a success?
Again, I think it's not really up to me to decide it. I think what defines a good CBA having a broad base of community input. I think that's the thing. Making sure all those stakeholders, all those people who will be impacted have some say on it. The Obama Senate CBA was a good one. And in fact, in the point that they worked on it for years and they constantly engaged the community, constantly. And they had provisions in around affordable housing. I don't remember all the details, but it was a community-driven process. And I think that's what makes for a good community benefits agreement. I think the things in it are, there are a lot of things that could be in it that I would prefer, but it's not about what I prefer. It's about having a community engaged so they can say what they want to be in it. And I think that's how you empower people. That's how people see how they can shape their own communities versus having someone else make the decisions and we have to deal with it. Because that's typically what happens in the Black community. We're resilient people. We're very resilient. But we don't have to be resilient. We need to begin to take ownership and be able to envision, create, and thrive. And that's how we get there.
And we're owed this because it's our tax dollars.
That's right.
That's right. All right, we've got King Israel on line one. Hey, brother, thank you for calling. You're on the afternoon show.
Thanks for taking my call, my brother. Can you hear me?
Just fine.
Yes,
Did this gentleman say he worked for 78?
No, he is with LaGuania Burns Hope Center.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, man, related Midwest full of it. Y'all had a CBA and collective bargaining agreement. I think that's two different things. I'm glad y'all got it straight. Collective bargaining agreements with the unions, that's going to lock Black people out of it. I can tell you that right now. If y'all talking about this.
No, we're talking about community benefits agreement.
I know, I'm saying, but he used the wrong example saying Obama, because half some Black contractors over there is out of business. So, man, I'm looking forward to this. I hope y'all ain't talking about that soccer stadium down in Roosevelt. I just came in on it. Yeah.
You said you're looking forward to the soccer stadium?
I'm looking forward to engaging in this writing process.
Absolutely. Well, that's the whole point of the conversation today, so that we can begin to raise awareness.
I never heard of him. Bob Israel, I've been doing it 25 years. I never heard of him. Who are you, sir?
I'm Rod Wilson with Virginia Burns Hope Center.
Okay. Do you know who Lady Midwest is and Don Bernanke?
Yeah. I'm familiar with Lady Midwest. I know they got a lot of properties. Some of them, and people have questionable thoughts about, and I get all that. So I know about them. But when I'm speaking to more, they're going to be who they're going to be. It's up to us to make them who we need to be. And that's what we're trying to create this process. Because, I agree with the bud. Sometimes these processes are a sham. I get that. But we make it what we want it to be. And the more of us involved, the more of us got some say, the less of a sham it's going to be. Because we're going, and you got to remember, we're about to go into an election year in February. So the city, all aldermen, all the mayor, the treasurer, everybody's about to be reelected. This is the time to hold them accountable for what we want or vote them out of office. Because that's it.
I remember they made that agreement and the alderman got caught off guard. They didn't even let her know. No billionaires involved, and they just be making moves. But I ain't going to hold up too much people's time. I'm looking forward to shutting it down, to be honest. Long.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Did you have another question, LaDonna?
No, I wanted to know, how do they choose their locations? And it sounds like this project it can be very lucrative, but in all actuality, how do they choose the areas that they want to develop in when the residents aren't even aware that the development is coming? Can you answer that?
I think for this particular development, there's no residents down there. The 78 there's nobody living there. It's just more older industrial area. It just never got developed. And so that's why I think they chose it, because it's close to downtown. It has a lot of potential, of course. And so I think but it would take a few billion in dollars to really build it out. but I think some folks saw the opportunity in that. So that's why I think this particular. Now, in other developments, it's a lot of factors that people, how much money they think they can make, how cheap can they buy the land versus for how to develop it and how much they're going to make off of it. There's a lot of different things that people think about when it comes to development. But for this particular area, it was almost not a clean slate, but there weren't people living down there. So it's not like you're going to displace anybody, that type of thing. But it will impact the surrounding communities. Because when you do big developments in neighborhoods or close to surrounding neighborhoods, prices and costs do go up. When they started announcing the Obama Center, Woodline in the mid-2000s, 2015, 2016, they were like the third highest increase in property values in the country because of all the speculation that came with it. So we want to make sure that we put our arms around it early. We know what development can bring. Development can bring a lot of different things, but also it does bring gentrification. It does bring exclusivity. And we want to make sure we get our arms around it so it benefits everyone.
All right, real quick, what do we need to be doing next?
Be on the lookout for community meetings. Be on the lookout. We have a website, CBA478.com. You can go to it, find out what's going on. We'll be posting all our community meetings, our online petitions, action items. Call your alderman, tell them this, whatever, or call us, let us know what you want to see. All that'll be there. So just be on the lookout for it. This today was just announcing it, because tomorrow the fire is doing a groundbreaking at that particular site to, celebrate them getting started on this. And we're saying, hey, you're getting started, but we got to make sure we on the same page.
So CBA 478, is that the number 4 or FOR?
FOR.
Okay, CBA478.com, right?
.org.
.org?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
I'm putting it in the comments, guys. If you didn't catch that, it's going to be in the comments on this show right now.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson of the LaGuardia. I said it wrong. I always say LaGuardia. Lagenia. Okay, Lagenia Burns Hope Center. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome back anytime.
All right, appreciate that.
You got it. All right, guys, we got to take a real quick break for traffic and weather. Interesting conversation on the other side. We got some great in-studio guests that are going to be here. You don't want to miss the afternoon show. 773-591-1690. Give us.
Hope you're having a marvelous Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. Illinois leaders remain concerned about immigration enforcement, even though the Department of Homeland Security has only been partially shut down, slowing but not stopping all operations. State lawmakers are considering bills to prohibit hiring former ICE agents and to strengthen accountability for immigration enforcement within Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago officials are pushing for transparency and protections after controversial enforcement actions in 2025, while local efforts continue to prepare for a possible return of federal immigration activity. In other news, 3 Cubs players are leaving spring training for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong, third baseman Alex Bregman, and pitcher Matthew Boyd will take part in the opening of pool play on Friday against Brazil in Houston. Other Cubs participating in the WBC are pitcher Jameson Chalin with Canada, outfielder Saya Suzuki with Japan, hurler Javier Assad with Mexico, and closer Daniel Palencia, who will play with Venezuela. In other news, Senate Democrats will force a vote on a war powers resolution to block President Trump from taking further military action against Iran without congressional approval. The measure seeks to enforce the 1973 War Powers Act, which limits presidential war powers. The effort is largely symbolic, as Trump is expected to veto and Congress lacks the votes to override. And this year's lunar eclipse may achieve the impossible. Mark Mayfield explains.
Tuesday's eclipse could see the rising of the sun and the eclipsed moon at the same time. Areas near and around the Pacific Rim have the best shot of seeing the strange occurrence. In North America, those in the Eastern time zone will get to see the moon set during the early light of dawn during the total phase of the eclipse. Places in the far west will be able to watch the eclipse from start to finish. I'm Mark Mayfield.
I'm Logan Page, and that's happening in your news now on WVON 1690.
I'm Shawnell Ritchie, president of LL Communications, and I'm proud to partner with WVON for Meeting the Moment. Attention all nonprofits. If you operate or work for a Chicago NPO, this message is for you. In moments of uncertainty, clear and trusted communication matters more than ever. That's why WVON created Meeting the Moment, to support local nonprofits during these challenging times. Together, we're offering crisis communication strategies designed to help the nonprofit community stay connected, informed, and responsive. From navigating difficult conversations to sharing accurate information with care and clarity, Meeting the Moment is about strengthening the voices that serve our neighborhoods every day. Because when nonprofits are equipped to communicate with confidence, our neighborhoods are stronger. This message is powered by the Chicago Community Trust. I am Shawnell Ritchie, president of LL Communications.
When your body needs real nourishment, don't settle for ordinary supplements. At the Aloe Shop, we believe wellness starts with nature. That's why our premium aloe and nutritional products are crafted with the highest standards, pure, potent, and made to support your health from the inside out. From digestion and energy to immune support, the Aloe Shop helps you feel your best every day. The Aloe Shop at 117 East 95th Street in Chicago. Call 866-256-3747 or reach us online at thealoeshop.com. Come on in and get healthy. Now available at Living Fresh Market in Forest Park and at Pete's Market throughout Chicagoland.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
What you see, no, not so clear. Hey, in the sky, so very dear, yeah. And shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see.
Welcome back. The afternoon show, WVON 1690. Happy Women's History Month. You're listening to Atiba and LaDonna Ray. And we have something special for you guys. Keep those comments coming. If you missed the information from our last guest, it is in the comments.
All right, we are back. Atiba LaDonna Ray, 337. And as promised, another great conversation, another great couple of guests that have been kind enough to join us in the studio. We got to work out the camera situation a little bit, but we are excited for this discussion. I got to get here we go. All right, so there is a community invitation to Ghana Independence Day flag raising at Daley Plaza. That's coming up around the corner on March 6th. Is this the hold on? We got all the mics? Okay, great. Is this the first time? So let me tell you who my guest is. I'm sorry, before I start asking you questions. Mr. Efa Amwe. How you say it?
Efa Ameya.
Ameya. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. He is the Ghana National Council President.
That's right.
Right? And so you got this Ghana Independence Day flag raising. For those who are unfamiliar, and I love your hat.
Thank you.
Tell us more about Ghana Independence Day. And I think this is the first flag raising here in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please tell us. Inform us.
So Ghana had its independence on the 6th of March, 1957.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of us that have been in Chicago, we've been celebrating on our own as a dinner dance. So every year we meet and dance. This year is the 69th celebration of our independence. Now, for the first time in the history of our residence here in Chicago and in Illinois,
Mhm.
the city of Chicago has agreed to raise a flag for us on that day. And it is happening exactly on the day of our independence, which is Friday coming up, the 6th of March.
Was that agreement made through Mayor Brandon Johnson's office?
Yes.
Okay, great. So tell us about that negotiation. Was that difficult to get done? Has it been difficult through the years? Have other administrations been resistant to that?
Yeah, so
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's this one.
okay, thank you. My name is can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
Felicia Apri. I am the public relation officer for the Ghana National Council.
Yes.
And it is our non-for-profit organization that actually asks the city of Chicago to do this because we've never done it before. It was actually a previous administration before us. Mr. Afamayao just became the president in November. So prior to that,
Congrats.
yes, and so prior to that, the administration before they put into motion for us to have it because a lot of small little other countries, they have it, not little, I shouldn't say that, but other non-for-profits that African based, they
Mhm.
have it, but we never had it. So why not? And they said yes to it. So we are just excited because we should have put this in motion long ago, but we living our lives here and not thinking we should. So we finally doing it.
Independence from who?
Independence from the British.
Okay.
Yeah, we were colonized by the British. So at a point in time during the colonization, what the first president of the country, Kwame Nkrumah, and some other Ghanaians at that time, our leaders said enough of that. So they put together a resistance, and on the 6th of March, that was granted.
I love it. I love it. Ms.
Yeah.
Renee?
Yeah. What if Ghana isn't something we're just celebrating? What if the connection between Ghana and the African Americans here in Chicago are also connected?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them getting or gaining the absolute truth about their lineage?
Yeah, I'll answer that. Okay, so I was born right here in Brownsville, but I'm a fully Ghanaian. Both of my parents are Ghanaian, so I was raised in Ghana and came back. So I have the best of both worlds, and I tell everybody that I'm from the South Side. I tell you that all day, every day, and I'm also Ghanaian. I tell you that all day, every day. So when I have to be part of this because of my background being I'm both. I think I'm the gap in the bridge. If I lose it, my kids will lose it. If I bridge it, my kids. And so this isn't just some show for me. This is like I have to do this for my generations to come. So when to see I welcome African Americans to come see our culture. It is beautiful. I welcome Ghanaians to also embrace Americans. It's beautiful. And just to the day on Friday, just being able to celebrate our independence and just inviting all of Chicago and everyone. It's just a beautiful thing, and everybody go to Ghana. If you can't go to Ghana, you got a whole culture here that is able and want to embrace you embracing us. So it's pretty cool.
Am I remembering right that Ghana is also offering citizenship to African Americans from the United States?
They are.
So you can have dual citizenship.
Yes, you can have dual citizenship. You sure can.
I'm sorry, do you want to get in?
Yes.
Go
Also,
ahead.
something special for African Americans is that in 2019, the then president, who is no more, who is a former president, put together this thing they call the Year of Return.
Mhm.
And since then, a lot of African Americans has gone back home, and there has been that strong bond between Ghana and Africans. So for any African American living here, especially in Chicago, your home in Africa is Ghana, nowhere else.
Mm-hmm. What do you, I'm looking at the time, I want to make sure, but there's a lot of rhetoric that goes back and forth that says that, Africa or Africans, Native Africans don't like African Americans and then vice versa. But, there's something that has to be done to strengthen our bridge and connection and understanding that we are loved in our native land. So how is it that when you preserve your traditions and your culture and your history, and then you hear how our culture and history is being dismissed, for lack of a better word,
And attacked.
and basically attacked. How do you recommend that the African Americans here and the Ghanaians that are here get together and merge those traditions so that they're not lost? Because you said you were the bridge, but what if we don't know where the bridge is?
So do you want to take this?
Yeah, so that is why we put together this cultural show, right? we have beside this, we celebrate it and we have the Ghana Fest where we go and we showcase all these things. And as part of that, we also try to make sure that we sell our culture to, us here as like African Americans. And what we engage in is to encourage you to go back home and then clear all these misconceptions. And every single one of them that has gone has come back and they say, wow, why didn't we know this earlier? When you go, there is that veil that comes out of your eye that says, what I've been taught in school is completely different from what I experienced when I went back home. And that is the story we keep, propagating and telling at all times. Sometimes the feeling I have is that there are individual differences that they want to couch the whole community with, but that is not who we are. We embrace, and anybody that has gone, the stories are also out there that you are loved, you are welcomed, and there is peace and there is welcome.
And that is beautiful there, right?
Absolutely.
Because the United States has always done a horrible job of painting Africa as destitute, as desperate, when in fact, it's the Garden of Eden, right? So again, I appreciate hearing you say that. I'm definitely going to make it my business to get there. Listen, we're coming up on a break. Oh no, we got a little bit of time. So tell us about this Ghana Fest. When is this?
So Ghana Fest this year is coming on July 25th at Washington Park. And it is going to be the 37th anniversary of our celebration. We've been doing it this year will be the 37th year. Now, we couldn't do it last year, obviously, because of what is going on with the administration and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we paused a little bit, but we are coming up full swing.
I love it.
How many vendors do you think are typically there for the average Ghana Fest?
Sometimes we have 50, sometimes a little bit more than that, if I'm not correct. But but it's definitely more than 50. But we do have, I want to say close to 70 that come. So it's a vast variety of different vendors that we know, and they have Ghanaians, and usually it's a little bit other cultures, and we welcome everybody now, but we just want you to come see what Ghana has. And when you come to Ghana Fest, I tell everybody, if you can't get to Ghana, just come there for one day. It's just, you will feel like you are in Ghana. And that's the whole point. We want to educate people through our festivals so that you could get a better understanding of the culture, so that all the misconceptions, it could go out the window. And it's up to us to, for us to invite you all warmly, and you guys just receptive to it. And we want you to be, and just learn like the tradition and the tradition, and not just clothes and fashion. It's more than that. It's definitely more than that. And at my 50 age, I'm still learning, and I want to learn more so that I could tell my African American friends about it. So when you ask that question, it's about me learning more and just being able to teach not only my kids, but my kids' friends, and my friends, so it's just, it's a beautiful thing to,
Love it. Sit tight now. Now it's time for a break.
Sure.
Take a real quick break for traffic and weather, but when we come back, more. Here, the phone lines are open, 773-591-1690. Please give a call right now and engage our fantastic guests. We'll be right back.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey everybody, it's Melody Span Cooper. We are all saddened by the loss of Reverend Jesse Jackson. He was family here at VON, and we are celebrating his life appropriately. 2013 was the 50th anniversary of the historic March on Washington. To mark the occasion, I asked Reverend if he would sit down with me for an interview. What he gave me was pure gold. Now, as we prepare to celebrate his life and legacy, I'm going to rebroadcast it just for you. You'll see why Chicago, the nation, and the world is celebrating the country preacher. Listen Wednesday, March 4th at 8 a.m. and an encore presentation Thursday at 5 p.m. It's an exclusive feature of your history-making station. WVON, the Talk of Chicago.
It is my life. It is my ministry. It says the dignity is non-negotiable. I can't imagine not fighting for justice, or preaching a sermon that does not involve the contemporary issues of our time. I cannot fight. I cannot accept us putting forward so much and getting so little in return. And so it has changed. It has transformed my life. It is defined my ministry, and it is in some sense defined what I find worth living and or dying for.
Free.
Women's History Month, we're amplifying the brilliance, the boldness, and the unapologetic power of women who refuse to whisper. These are the women who roar, the lawmakers, the CEOs who walk into boardrooms and flip the script, the journalists who ask the hard questions, the organizers who move communities from outrage to action. These women are breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and redefining what leadership looks like, fueled by courage and driven by legacy. Listen to Women Who Roar, an exclusive feature on WVON, because quiet was never the assignment.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. That's 800-433-8909. Or simply visit godra.com.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray, your new favorite part of the day.
Tune in 3 to 6 Monday through Thursday on WVON 1690 AM. We ask the questions you're thinking.
And the ones you're afraid to ask.
The afternoon show, only on WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the afternoon show. You're listening to Atiba and LaDonna Ray right here on WVON 1690. I would love to invite you guys to share the show if you haven't done so already. We really appreciate it. And I see those comments coming through, and we'll get to them in just a second, but we still have our guests that are here. We have Felicia Abney, who is PR or Public Relations Officer, and of course, Mr. Effa. He said I could just stick with the Effa. But with this event coming up and being inserted in Chicago culture, would you say that there are so many opportunities? Because I remember talking to a group of people about wanting to know from whence we came. And it sounds like your festival is not just about raising the flag, but it's also about learning the culture and continuing to learn the culture. Mm-hmm. What do you say to Chicago residents that are interested in ongoing, learning the culture ongoing after the festival is over?
Wow. Yeah, so it will interest you to know that I've been invited to a couple of schools to speak to children that are going to Ghana, and specifically to teach them some of the most popular language in Ghana, which is the Twi. So there's that bond over there. Chicago is also a sister city to our capital, Accra. And, you know, there are a lot of political and economic and technological exchanges once in a while, and cultural and other exchanges that goes on in there. So there's that learning process over there, in addition to individually where we stay and how we are able to, you know, our dress and food and relationship that we built over the years. This has created that bond. So there's that
Mhm.
continuous learning and stuff like that. And we hope to improve upon it over the years that is to come.
Yeah, I just say also look for some African organizations to be part of, because those are the Africans that you can learn from. Reach out to my Ethiopian communities to learn more about them, just in Liberian. So if you really want to learn more about the culture, books help and everything, but it's nothing from getting it firsthand from the people who live it. And they teach you. We got different African stores throughout Chicago. You go in there, it's the African market, and that's how it look like when you go to Ghana. So if you want that firsthand experience, get with someone or organization that could help you learn more about the culture. That's just from my experience and just being within the community.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. Explain the tradition, a part of the tradition of how you pass information down from generation to generation.
I love that.
Is it verbal? Is it through books? Is it an oral tradition? What does that look like for individuals from Ghana?
All of the above.
Okay.
For me, and this is my experience being from the South Side, right? I have to throw that in there.
Yeah.
That you get it from all of the. I learned from my great grandmom because she taught me, and then my grandmom, and then I learned from the internet. You could connect with Africans on the internet, and they show you they're more storytelling, so they could show you more. So just don't depend on just one source, but all of the sources, just like I'm doing, just like a lot of us are doing. My mom didn't know a lot about stuff that happened in Africa when she was there or before her, but through verbal and just learning through the internet and people telling her, she learned more about it. So it's just a learning process and how you can, absorb it and
Depends on
take it
how
for you.
hungry you are to learn.
Yeah, that's exactly. And some of us are hungrier than the others.
You can add to it.
And also there are a lot of symbolisms. So most of our individual ethnic groups have symbols. Like when you take their accounts, we have their Dinkra, all these, and their way of expressing a lot of things to the community. We are also very communal. Americans have been here, and I think in most cases there's individualism is here. But over there, hardly will something go on in the other neighborhood without you knowing. But people are concerned about what's going on. All these things are bringing the learning processes and all that are passed on from generation to generation.
Speaking of passed on, I know we only have a few seconds really. What does history look like over there when you are teaching African history and what happened during the slave trade? Does it say that our ancestors were taken to America? What does it say? Is it different than what we read here?
And when I was going to school, I didn't even know about it until I got to America. We didn't know. It just wasn't part of, it was just, as the years went by, people want to learn and hungry for it. So it became now they know, because African Americans come there to hear it and see it and feel it. So now that it's in there now. So you can't deny history, and it's about telling it and keep continuously having it in people's faces. So,
But it's nice because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just to add that, that's where, for many of us here, that's where our history starts, but not for you.
Right.
Right. So if you could speak to that, good sir, about just the totality of the history and that slavery is not the beginning of Ghanaian history.
Right. So for us locally, it is not a big deal. For those of us back home, it's not a big deal. But when we come here, it is a big deal. And there are evidence of it, like the slave castles and some of the marketplaces that have been preserved by the United Nations for generations to learn from that. So when you go to Ghana right now, there is a passage or there is a ritual that people are taking through for you to feel how our ancestors felt. And it's all part of the learning process and telling the world that not again, this is not something that should repeat itself. Even though when you ask me, it is repeated in another way, but not like,
Ask me
like
too.
as gross as they used to do it, but they find a technical way to cover it and still do it. But, it's a learning process. And sometimes it's up to us to own it and say, this is what was done to our ancestors. So how do we live our lives? How do we learn? And how do we put the structures to avoid them from being repeated? Because when you don't learn from your history, it will be repeated.
Oh,
It will
my
be
goodness.
repeated in a way that you don't like.
I'm glad you said it. And this is something that we all need to understand. I know that we tend to start where our history has started, but we know that it comes way before that. And that's where the research comes in. We want to thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We just make sure that everybody knows the 2 events coming up tell us about the flag raising and the fest one more time.
All right, so the flag raising is this Friday at Daley Plaza at 12 o'clock. We have a couple of our chiefs from every affiliate, which is like meaning like our tribes. So we're going to have a couple of them there to represent, as well as have Susan Mendoza. She is the official that will be speaking there. And then we have a couple of things that just attractions. We have the Ghana flag just for everyone, but we just want everyone just to come and see us raise it for the first time and just celebrate with us. So we hope everyone can make it. And then Ghana Fest?
Yeah. So, and then on the 14th, will be a dinner dance. So if, as many people as can come, we're also going to appreciate that. And then, there'll be a dinner dance. It will be at Willowbrook.
Okay.
Yeah, that there'll be a dinner dance where we're gonna really at night where we're gonna have a little.
That sounds
Some
like
Ghana
fun.
dance.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Get your hips
But
ready.
But our biggest event this year is the Ghana Fest that will come on the 25th of July this year, and it's
Okay.
going to be a lot of fun, a lot of play, all ages.
And you said you're gonna bring us some flowers.
Oh, you guys are coming. You're invited. You have
thank
to
you.
come. You
Yes.
have to come to
I
Ghana
love
Fest.
it. Yeah. Oh, we're there.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're there.
exactly.
Thank you.
And
Excellent,
at
guys.
Washington Park.
Love
We'd
it.
love to see everyone over there.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for joining us on the
Yes.
afternoon show.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Appreciate
All right, we
it.
got to get going, guys.
Yeah.
We're not going, but we got to take a break.
Right.
More with Atiba and LaDonna Ray on the other side. We're going to get to this war in Iran. We'll be right back.
Happy Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Today is Pulaski Day, 3 to receive Medal of Honor. And time change comes with increased risk of health issues. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, WVON 1690, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's PIN News Now.
The NYPD is boosting security at key places in high traffic areas throughout New York City in response to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. Many Iranian Americans flooded New York City streets yesterday, hopeful the latest military action will be a good thing for people in Iran.
People in Iran, they have no freedom. This war is not with the Iranian people. This war is with the regime of Iran.
Meanwhile, there's a 5 p.m. rally planned for Columbus Circle for people who are against the war. There's no end in sight for a partial government shutdown that's left the Department of Homeland Security without funding for more than 2 weeks. Democrats and Republicans are blaming each other for the current shutdown, which is affecting agencies like TSA and the Coast Guard. And after 2 seasons of coaching football at University of Colorado with Deion Sanders, Warren Sapp is leaving the program. The university confirmed his decision and said he wants to pursue other opportunities. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Back to you, Doug.
All right, thanks and happy Monday. Black U.S. Representative and ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Gregory Meeks, tells CNN that Trump's airstrikes against Iran are illegal. There's been a lot of talk about the administration's stance, claiming that Iran posed an imminent threat, while reports argue otherwise. So does Congress have any power to stop the attacks? Meeks said this week lawmakers plan to vote on a war powers resolution.
This resolution that's coming on the floor is not an authorization for the utilization of military weapons.
That resolution would direct Trump to end military action against Iran, although he will likely veto if passed. But if Congress does give authorization.
And so that vote will come back to Congress if you want to continue to fund it and funding that is necessary in 60 days thereafter. So this is a two-step dance. This is the first step. Let's see where Congress is and where the American people are and their representatives on the record. And then there will come another time for the authorization of utilization of military weapons.
Meeks points to the War Powers Resolution as one of the few tools Congress has left when the president pushes military action without a clear mandate. Meanwhile, some prominent Black anti-Trump activists believe the president's military strikes on Iran are less about national security and more about rallying the Republican base ahead of a tough midterm election. Some of us recall Trump saying this about President Obama and negotiations with Iran back in 2011, when the nation's first Black president was running for a second term in office.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
Trump wrote at least 7 times between 2011 and 2013 on social media that Obama would attack Iran in order to get reelected. It's important to note that former President Obama held back while Trump did not, and that President Trump has been teasing about another 3rd term in office. And finally, Iranian officials say talks are off with the U.S. and/or Israel after airstrikes that killed the nation's supreme leader and more than 550 people across Iran and Lebanon. Americans lost just 4 soldiers and 3 fighter jets in Kuwait strikes. Now, with Trump signaling weeks of attacks ahead, Iran says it will not bow down and vows revenge by continuing to attack U.S. military bases in the region. It will match Trump's campaign and warns that the U.S. and Israel will pay a heavy price for their actions. Stay connected and subscribe. And follow BIN News this hour, wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm Doug Davis for the Black Information Network. Have a great Monday. And of course, stay warm and safe out there.
Black Creativity 2026 is now open at the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. The exhibit features the nation's longest-running exhibition of Black art, plus interactive family experiences, STEAM career showcases, youth flight school camps, and signature events throughout the season. From art and innovation to education and community celebration, Black Creativity uplifts the voices, stories, and contributions of Black artists across generations. Buy tickets today at griffinmsi.org.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi?
And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If your car is out of warranty, one major repair bill could wipe you out. Just ask Ludacris.
Car breakdowns can wreck your wallet. Without Endurance, a worn-out timing belt could cost you $1,700. A busted transmission, that's $4,000 easy. An engine meltdown, $7,000. But if you've got Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again. With Endurance, your car's most expensive parts are covered. Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work. With Endurance, your rate stays the same no matter how many claims you file.
If your car is under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country. Choose the name Ludacris trusts, Endurance. Right now, get $300 off any plan, plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. For your free quote, call 800-496-9999, 800-496-9999, 800-496-9999.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on Chicago's Essential Storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. That wasn't too bad, right? You're listening to the afternoon show on WVON with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. And we have wrapped up the conversation about uplifting the flag. And now we are moving on to what has happened over the weekend.
Oh, goodness. I wasn't locked into the news like I normally am.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like later on Saturday. By later, I mean 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And I tuned into one of the channels and I almost fainted. Like, wait, we did what? Like, we just heard the president of the State of the Union address. He certainly did not make it. He did not make Iran sound like an existential threat at the time. A lot of things just didn't, and then I saw him with the baseball cap and giving a speech, and it just didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it also didn't make sense based upon how he ran. We got a clip for that. I want to play this real quick just to
remind everybody what he ran on
about what he ran on and what he criticized before. So let's play that clip.
Think of it. We spent $8 trillion in the Middle East, and we're not fixing our roads in this country. How stupid is it? And we're not fixing our highways, our tunnels, our bridges, our hospitals even, our schools even. It's crazy.
It is crazy, Donald. You promised no new wars.
All right. Mm-hmm. So again, here's the funny thing, LaDonna. I agree with what he just said.
Right.
$8 trillion, whatever the figure was,
$8 trillion
in Afghanistan. And, so again, I get it. We were there for 20 years. Very, very expensive. And what do we get from it? How did we benefit? How did the country improve? And that being said, and we still haven't gotten our roads and bridges and schools fixed and funded and all that good stuff. And it doesn't seem to be that's on the way, despite the infrastructure bill that was passed by the Biden administration. Again, a lot of those things have been undone. And they take a long time to get done anyway. It's not like, those are not things you can just snap your fingers to get done. But nonetheless, we have a great guest that is joining us to help us better understand this, what seems to be a debacle thus far. Joining us on the live line is Professor Paul Post. He is associate professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of Chicago, where his area of research and teaching is international relations. I think we got a good guest for this one.
Oh yeah.
Professor Post, thank you so much for joining Thank you for joining us. How are you, sir?
Welcome.
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So when you saw the news roll out on early Saturday, especially given the fact that we had apparently been in negotiations with Iran about a nuclear deal as recently as Friday, what was your initial thought?
Oh, so my initial thought was I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked. And what do I mean by that? So I was surprised because I woke up early. I tend to wake up very early. And the first thing I saw on my phone was a request from a reporter to come on and talk that morning about the U.S. operations in the Middle East. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And so I'm immediately like trying to, okay, all right, so this has started now. So that's the surprising part. I wasn't expecting it to start when it did. What do I mean that I wasn't shocked? Well, I wasn't shocked because there has been this buildup. They've been moving, the USS Gerald Ford to the region, the USS Lincoln to the region. There were over 150 aircraft that had been moved to the region. We hadn't moved that type of naval and air power to the region since 2003. So it's kind of like if you're moving that type of hardware there, you got to expect that something could happen. That is a very realistic possibility. But to your point about the negotiations, it was still uncertain about, is this just posturing to try to get a better deal with respect to the negotiations, to try to like signal, hey, we're serious, you better reach a deal, we want to make sure you don't have a nuclear weapon. I mean, just the end of the day on Thursday, Iran, one of the participants in the negotiations for Iran, had said that they had, quote, deep conversations and had mutually agreed to continue the conversations. So, in that sense, you're kind of like, all right, it seems like this is going to continue. And then, yes, suddenly Saturday morning, you realize, nope, it's not continuing. We're now at war.
So what does this do to the negotiations?
So that's kind of the big thing everybody's trying to figure out right now, because on the one hand, when Trump came out Saturday morning and he had that announcement that had been recorded and then he posted it on Truth Social, he talked about regime change. He called on the people of Iran to rise up. This is going to be your only opportunity, perhaps for generations, and so you should take advantage of it. And that would suggest that he's done talking, that they're ready for a new leadership. They're ready, not even just new leadership, but completely reforming the country. Regime change, of course, being that phrase that many people are very wary of, but that's what he's talking about. And then, of course, yesterday, he's talking about following the death of the Ayatollah Khomeini and following the targeted killing of several other leaders. Trump said that he's been in, quote, conversations with the potential new leader of Iran, and that he could be open to talking with him, though not yet. Of course, nobody quite knows who that leader would be, because he also said that due to the killings, they had eliminated a lot of the people they thought were likely successors. So there's a lot of uncertainty, but he at least hinted at the fact that he's willing to now continue negotiations. But again, right now, the conflict is continuing.
Yeah, it kind of seemed odd that he would tell the people of Iran to rise up above their own government, and that's not exactly easy for them to do. But in looking at how he was able to bypass Congress, even in this sense, why is it that, of course, with Congress being majority Republican, they're going to go along with whatever Trump decides to do, and he knows this? Because just last June, the same thing took place when he claimed that he obliterated the nuclear weapons in last June, which obviously did not take place come this year, because now he really obliterated the nuclear weapons. So how do you calm a president like this down, if at all? Or is he just on a rampage for this whole decapitation rant that he's taking account?
Right. I mean, your point about it's like, for real, I've actually destroyed the weapons this time, right? It's
right.
Like, right. It was. It's like, it's for real this time. Like, really? Because, yes, he was very insistent. In fact, members of the administration, Hegseth and others were saying it's fake news to say that we did not decimate the entire nuclear program. And, well, apparently that wasn't the case, because of exactly as you're saying. It's like, well, we're back at it again. Now, I think the way they work themselves out of that argument is by claiming, well, yes, we did a lot of damage, but the Iranian government is still seeking to restart the program, and we can't wait for that to happen. Interestingly, that's a very similar argument to what the Bush administration made about Saddam Hussein in Iraq back in 2003, which was that even after they found that they didn't actually have weapons of mass destruction, it was, well, but they had the intent of pursuing them again, and so we can never let that happen, and so that's why we ultimately have to remove this regime. But to your other point about not seeking congressional approval, it's like, on the one hand, that's not a complete shock, because Trump is not unique in terms of kind of either not seeking congressional approval, engaging in a military operation, and then asking for approval after the fact. But what I think is clear is that he also knew that no one is actually going to push back on this, at least in a hard way. Iran has long been perceived as a threat to the United States, to U.S. interests in the region. We can get into why that might be and the legitimacy of that claim, but it has long been perceived as a threat. And that's actually been bipartisan. The big difference hasn't been whether Iran's a threat. It's been, how do you approach it? And so if you go back to the Obama administration, their approach was more to contain Iran, try to get the nuclear deal, to get Iran to give up the weapons, and to actually allow monitors in there to keep them from getting weapons. The Trump administration and other Republican administrations, their approach has been much more hawkish, using maximum pressure. We don't need a negotiation. We need to actually put sanctions on them and eliminate their ability to do it. But I think at the end of the day, there's been bipartisan agreement that Iran is a threat. The Ayatollah is not a person that we favor having in power. And so even if he had gone to Congress, he likely would have received some sort of backing for some type of operation.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back on the other side and continue this conversation. Make sure you guys give us a call at 773-591-1690. You know what you saw on Saturday, but tell us what you think today. We'll be right back.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When it comes to local nonprofit organizations that are on the ground serving our communities, when times get tough, communication can't wait. Introducing Meeting the Moment, a special feature coming to WVON designed to support local nonprofits with crisis communication strategies to meet today's challenges. Visit WVON.com/meeting the moment to learn more on how we're helping our local nonprofits stay clear, connected, and confident when our communities need them most. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Robin Kelly grew up behind the register in her dad's grocery store. So she knows what it means when the same groceries cost more each week. Under Donald Trump, corporations get tax breaks, loopholes, and a green light to price gouge. Families get higher grocery bills, higher childcare costs, high healthcare premiums. It's Trump's economy. Corporate profits first, people last. In Congress, Robin Kelly's been fighting back. Robin took on insurance companies to lower drug costs. She wrote the law extending Medicaid for new moms to a full year because cutting care after 60 days was just wrong. And now Robin Kelly is running for Senate with a people over profits agenda. Medicare for all, so healthcare isn't a ripoff. Cap on childcare costs so families can work. And crack down on corporate price gouging so you're not punished at every turn. People over profits. Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate.
I'm Robin Kelly, Democrat running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Robin Kelly for Senate.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional from the Wealth Strategy Show, now airing every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. I'm here with the Wealth Strategies tip of the week. When it comes to investing your money, it's important to have a well thought out strategy. Your investment strategy should take in consideration your financial goals, how much risk you're willing to take on, your tax situation, and what products fit your needs. Having a well thought out investment strategy can put you in a better position to weather the storm of turbulence in the market. To learn more, please visit WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
Hey, it's Cleopatra Draper. Join me for the Midday Show weekdays at 9 a.m. where we'll sip and spill all the tea. Do you want it hot or cold? Either way, we're serving up the flavor of the day. Weekdays at 9 a.m. right here on the station giving you what's now and what's next. 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Good Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here is your traffic update. Dan Ryan downtown on 95th. Stop and go traffic 25 minutes. I-57 right into I-80. No delays. 15 minutes. Bishop Ford right into I-80. 94. Slow go 20 minutes. Stevenson due South Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic 28 minutes. Eisenhower Wolf to Post Office. Slow go 26 minutes. Kennedy downtown to O'Hare. Stop and go traffic 34 minutes. And Eden's Montrose Lake Cook. Smooth sailing 14 minutes. Your weather for today, Chicago. Pleasant day, high 42 and a low of 32. Tomorrow, rain likely, high 43 and a low of 32. It's currently 40 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your traffic right now on WVON 1690.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You're listening to the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. You like this song?
Love it.
What do you like about it?
Well, Michael Jackson does this pop locking thing and the freestyle that is amazing. Their choreography is excellent, and as you just heard, Jermaine just came in so smooth. It's just quintessential Jackson 5.
Well, thank you for that. All right, guys. Thanks for hitting those phone lines, 773-591-1690. We have Professor Paul Post on the line. He is a professor from the University of Chicago, and he is joining us to better talk about these international relationships now that this has happened. Professor, I was talking to Atiba during the break, and I was actually pointing out that Trump is not the only president that has not sought congressional approval before striking. There have been others, of course, but in this case, what does it look like with the international relations now that this has happened? It doesn't seem like it's an easy next move when you're playing chess. This is not, you sunk my battleship. This is something different. So what should we look for when it comes to international relations?
So first of all, it's a really good point to be thinking about, especially if you want to go back and compare what Trump has done with this war to say what George W. Bush did with the Iraq War, or what his father, H.W. Bush, did with the 1991 Persian Gulf War. Because in both of those cases, they sought congressional support. They also went to the UN and made at least an argument. W. Bush wasn't able to get a new resolution per se from the UN Security Council, but H.W. Bush was. They used their State of the Union addresses to try to really put forward an argument for it. Whereas, it was stated just a little bit ago, if you listen to the State of the Union address last week, it was like 2 paragraphs within a 2-hour speech. So it was like he didn't make this a point. So I think this is really important to kind of say there was not the effort made to try to build up either domestic support or international support for this, like in the same way that was done with both of the Bushes. And of course, that's not to say that the Iraq War was a good idea, but it's just to say that at least Bush recognized that I have to make some effort to really put forward an argument to help convince these audiences. Trump didn't seem to do that at all, either at the domestic level, and then as you're hinting at with, or as you're getting at with the international relations, at the international level. You had European allies kind of wondering like, well, what's going on? There was no attempt to go to the UN Security Council to put forward this case. It really seemed to be something that was coordinated between the United States and Israel, and then possibly also Saudi Arabia. Of course, some of the Gulf states in the region would have been brought in as well, just because U.S. forces were there. But this was in no way intended to build up the same level of support. Having said that, it kind of goes back a little bit to what we were talking about before the break, which is just like how there's bipartisan support domestically for the idea that Iran has to be countered, that Iran is a threat. Internationally, there's also a pretty unanimous view that Iran poses a threat. European nations were indeed in the lead with trying to reach the Iran nuclear deal back in 2015, working with the Obama administration. So there's also kind of this consensus view internationally that Iran is a threat. Having said that, there was also a consensus view that Iraq was a threat back when Saddam Hussein was in charge. And the concern wasn't that he's not a threat. It is basically, as Colin Powell very well said, if you break it, you own it, which is that if this country falls apart, it's not so simple to just simply run a military operation and leave. You could create chaos throughout the entire region. And that's the thing that people are very concerned about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let's take some of these calls. You have the phone lines lit, Professor. Tianki, you're up.
Hey, Pianki.
Pianki, thank you.
How you guys doing?
Good.
You know, I approve of what happened. Although I would rather for attention to be given to MAGA as it is in the United States. But Iran has been trying, they are attacking 8 countries with missiles. My question, where do they get all these missiles from? The only place I can think of is probably North Korea or China. Another point, they have been saying that they want to enrich uranium for peaceful purposes, to generate power. Well, you've had Western countries offer to give them enriched uranium so that they can generate power, but no, they want to take it to the next highest level so they can enrich it for weaponry. So, in another point, you can't tell Congress what you're going to do. Congress, you got some shady Congress members that's corrupt. And look at General Milley. What did he tell his Chinese counterpart? I will let you know if Trump is attempted to talking about attacking China. You can't tell them anything.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Your thoughts on the call, Professor?
I think he's put forward kind of some of the key arguments that are indeed made for why, going back to what I was just saying and saying before, why there's people both within the U.S. and abroad that even though they may not like how Trump exactly carried out these strikes, they don't feel bad about the fact that the Ayatollah has been killed, and they do view Iran as a threat, and largely for the reasons that he said. You know, they have been a destabilizing force in the region. We could talk about the seeking the nuclear weapon, as was brought up, also their missiles, that was brought up. But in addition to that was the various proxies that they support throughout the region: Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, militias in Iraq. They have long been deemed kind of a destabilizing force in the region. And so, yes, I think that the caller put forward a lot of the arguments of why people say, you know what, I'm not happy necessarily with how Trump carried this out, but I'm also not disappointed that at least the Ayatollah is gone, and maybe now we can take some steps towards trying to finally neutralize this threat of Iran.
I guess, and that's all fine, well and good, but for me, it's to what end? Right. We again, we're looking at regime change. So that being said, though, there's really not going to be a serious regime change. Right. Just like Venezuela, we arrested their president, but who are we negotiating with now? People really of the same ilk. There really has not been any substantive regime change. So my question is, to what end do we do these things? And as far as this point about Congress is concerned, I mean, he basically said he can't tell Congress because they'll snitch. That's basically what he said. And again, there are Congress has rules. These are things that are codified. You cannot seek war without clearing it with Congress. And you just because you don't like the rule doesn't mean you get to just subvert it. So I don't know. So that concerns me. But hold on one second, Professor, because we're up on one more break. And if you could stick with us, we greatly appreciate it. We're going to take a break. Mike, we see you holding, and we're going to take your calls and more on the other side. We'll be right back.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hope you're having a marvelous Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. Today is Pulaski Day in Chicago and Cook County. City and county government offices are closed, along with Chicago public libraries. Meanwhile, the Chicago public schools will be open, as well as post offices and banks. Pulaski Day honors Polish military leader Kazimierz Pulaski, who was a key figure in the American Revolutionary War. Chicago landmarks are named after him, such as Pulaski Park and Pulaski Road. In other news, President Trump says the 3 U.S. Army soldiers getting the Medal of Honor are brave and amazing people. At a White House ceremony Monday, Trump honored World War II veteran Master Sergeant Roderick Emmett, Afghanistan veteran Staff Sergeant Michael Olis, and Vietnam veteran Staff Sergeant Terry Richardson. Trump said he was strongly considering awarding a posthumous honor to Edmonds as far back as 2020. He's credited for saving 200 Jewish Americans being sought by the Nazis when he was a prisoner of war in Germany in 1945. And the time change this upcoming weekend puts Americans at a higher risk for health problems. The clocks move ahead an hour on Saturday into Sunday for daylight saving time, resulting in the loss of an hour.
We are getting more sunlight. So ensuring that you get sunlight in the morning is going to be one of the most important things you can do to reset your clock.
Sleep psychologist Alicia Roth with the Cleveland Clinic says history shows in the week after the time change, the number of heart attacks, strokes, and motor vehicles crashes rise. She recommends folks head into the time change well rested, getting 7 hours of sleep a night, and avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. I'm Logan Page, and that's happening in your news now on WVON 1690.
This Women's History Month, we're amplifying the brilliance, the boldness, and the unapologetic power of women who refuse to whisper. These are the women who roar, the lawmakers, the CEOs who walk into boardrooms and flip the script. The journalists who ask the hard questions, the organizers who move communities from outrage to action. These women are breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and redefining what leadership looks like, fueled by courage and driven by legacy. Listen to Women Who Roar, an exclusive feature on WVON, because quiet was never the assignment.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If your car is out of warranty, one major repair bill could wipe you out. Just ask Ludacris.
Car breakdowns can wreck your wallet. Without Endurance, a worn-out timing belt could cost you $1,700. A busted transmission, that's $4,000 easy. An engine meltdown, $7,000. But if you've got Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again. With Endurance, your car's most expensive parts are covered. Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work. With Endurance, your rate stays the same no matter how many claims you file.
If your car is under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country. Choose the name Ludacris trusts, Endurance. Right now, get $300 off any plan, plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. For your free quote, call 800-496-9999, 800-496-9999, 800-496-9999.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Good Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here is your traffic update. In Ryan, downtown 95th. Stop and go traffic, 27 minutes. I-57, Ryan to I-80. No delays, 15 minutes. Bishop Ford, Ryan to I-80, 94, 4-minute delay, 16 minutes. Stevenson due Double Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic, 31 minutes. Wolf to Post Office. Slow go, 28 minutes. Kennedy downtown to O'Hare. Stop and go traffic, 35 minutes. In Eden's, Montrose, Lake Cook. Move Stanley, 14 minutes. Weather for today, Chicago, pleasant day. High 42 and a low of 32. Tomorrow, rain likely. High 43 and a low of 32. It's currently 42 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
We are back on the afternoon show. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are joined on the live line by University of Chicago professor Paul Post, and he has been walking us through this Iran situation. We have another great guest that's going to be joining us via StreamYard in just a moment. But Mr. Post, before we let you go, I wanted to take one more call with you. We've got Mike online too. Hey, Mike, thanks for calling.
Hey, Atiba, LaDonna Ray, and to your guests. Hey, first, I want to commend VON on its coverage of Reverend Jackson's tributes.
Thank you.
It's eased the pain somewhat. The other thing is, the only thing that keeps going through my mind in terms of this attack on Iran is how, since the attack in Venezuela, all I've read is Iran is not Venezuela. And we can expect a hell of a lot more loss and response than coming from Venezuela. One other thing is I have a personal issue with this piece of trash who's a draft dodger and who essentially has spat on soldiers and have such a cavalier attitude in regards to the loss of life in this situation. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm more than confident it won't be good.
Thank you for that, Mike. Yeah. Professor, I want to give you the last word.
Yeah, so I think what he's raising there actually ties in well to the point, Atiba, that you were bringing up right before the break, which is how does this compare to Venezuela? And there's in some ways in which it doesn't compare well, but there's a lot that we could learn from what happened in Venezuela back in January. Of course, the big thing was there was a raid, Maduro is captured, he's taken out, but Dulce Rodriguez is brought in, and basically everything is kind of the same.
Right,
well, I think that is the most likely scenario here, is that at the end of it, I mean, you do have some potential nightmare scenarios where the regime totally collapses and it becomes basically a Syria, but at scale in terms of just the fighting that's happening in the country. But I think the most likely scenario is basically the fighting starts to quiet down, maybe because President Trump is receiving a lot of blowback and he decides I need to find an off-ramp, if you will. He starts negotiating and talking to one of these new leaders, and basically the regime stays in place. And a lot of people that I know who are experts on kind of the internal politics of Iran, they do talk a lot about how like over the years, the Ayatollah had created kind of this very stable system that can withstand a lot of internal pressure, but also external pressure. So I think that's the most likely scenario. But this also points to why Iran is much more difficult with Venezuela. It's like if you could not achieve regime change with Venezuela, there's no way you're achieving it with Iran. And the best way to illustrate why it was more difficult is the simple fact that they had to kill the Ayatollah. They could not capture the Ayatollah. And that was even something that I was talking about last week to some groups. Is I was saying, Venezuela was easier. You could actually basically use the same blueprint as the Osama bin Laden raid. They use that to capture Maduro. But the Ayatollah in Iran is just a completely different situation, to where all you could do was try to bomb him from a distance, which is what they did. So that's just one way in which this is a very different situation. We're already seeing Iran retaliating, as was brought up before, striking neighboring countries, activating proxies. And so these are the many ways in which Iran is just a very different situation from Venezuela. And unfortunately, it's a situation that is not going to be ending, I think, soon.
Well, Professor Paul Post, we thank you so much for joining the afternoon show and helping us better navigate this very complex issue. We hope you'll join us again.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, and I'd be more than happy to come on again.
You got it.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. All right, guys. No, we're not going anywhere. No break time. We have a great guest that's here. I'm going to try and not to slaughter his name. He's a reporter for the New Republic, and his name is Joe Cirencioni. I think that's how you say it. Cirencioni.
He said thumbs up.
Oh, excellent. Hey. And he has a marvelous piece that I read, posted on my Facebook page, by the way. The byline reads, "This is not how democracies go to war. It's how dictators do." And, he gives us a great historical lens of, what's been done before and how it's impacting now. Thank you for joining us. Can I just call you Joe?
It makes things much easier.
All right.
Thank you.
Madonna said Joe C.
I did.
So Joe, one thing that you point out in this article, and this seems so obvious to me, you said even King George needed the approval of the British Parliament before he could wage war against rebellious American colonies. Trump has remained mum as he orders the largest military buildup in the Middle East since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. But here's where it gets interesting. We had over 3,000 Americans killed on American soil on September 11th of 2001. We didn't go to war with Iraq until 2003. And they had taken all that time to build up public sentiment, to do all the things, to go through Congress as they were supposed to, couched in a bunch of lies. But nonetheless, it was not an overnight switch. And that was with 3,000 American lives lost on U.S. soil. So I'm trying to figure out, when we don't have this 9/11 equivalent, we really don't have anything that we can say that points to Iran being this existential threat. How is it then that this administration is able to just circumvent all of the normal procedures and policies that we have in place for when we want to engage?
Boy, that is such a great point. You know, I used to teach at Georgetown University, so I could go on for quite a while about this, but I'll keep it quick. Basically, the way George W. Bush went to war and the way his father, George H.W. Bush, went to war in the 1991 Gulf War was informed by the lessons of Vietnam. There's a whole lot of lessons, but one of them was that if you want to go to war, you have to have the American people go with you. You have to have their support. You have to have the support of the political leadership of the country to go with you. And you need the support of your allies. Then, when you have a very capable military, now you've got all the components that you need to not just wage the war, but to win that war. And the lesson for Vietnam was we didn't have the support of the American people, and eventually you couldn't sustain the conflict. You had to withdraw. Trump is ignoring all those lessons. Every single one of them. H.W. Bush went through months of discussion about the need to, remember, he went to war against Saddam Hussein to evict him from Kuwait, which Saddam had conquered. He got the approval of the UN Security Council. So all our allies, the UN was behind him. It was a very successful war. You know, in 3 weeks, we expelled Saddam. Very light casualties on the U.S. side. Then they quit. They didn't go on to Baghdad. They didn't try regime change. They quit. It was a successful war. H.W. Bush similarly spent months campaigning with Donald Rumsfeld, with Secretary of State Colin Powell, trying to convince the American people that Saddam Hussein was behind the September 11th attacks and had a very large stockpile of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, and he was going to that posed an imminent threat to the United States. It was all lies, but it succeeded in getting the American people to support the war, getting a resolution passed to support the war. I didn't get the UN Security Council to go along with them, but they thought that was enough. They waged the war successfully, but lost the peace, didn't have a plan for what to do after they won the war. Trump has dispensed with all this. Trump is really acting like a dictator here. He has said almost nothing about the war, a few scattered appearances over the weekend. He announced the war wearing a baseball cap at 2 a.m. in the morning at a Florida golf course, Mar-a-Lago. You know, that's can you imagine any other president doing that? Nor is he consulted with our allies, with the exception, as we now know, of Bibi Netanyahu of Israel and Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, who are the two men who convinced Trump to go do this, according to the Washington Post, CNN, MS Now, The Guardian, other reporting we've just seen in the last 2 days. So Trump is acting like a king here, that he doesn't need the approval of the American people. He doesn't need the Democrats to go along with him. He doesn't need allies. He doesn't need the Security Council. As a result, he's perfectly capable of starting a war, but I see no chance that he's going to be able to win this war. This war is going to go down as a disaster, and it's going to sink the fortunes of the administration along with it. I think because of the failure of this war, there's a greater chance that it's going to accelerate regime change in America than in Iran.
That's deep. I know
That
you
was
MAGA
heavy.
fans didn't want to hear that, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back
Yeah,
on
let
the
that
after.
marinate for
I
a
know,
minute.
right? We'll be right back right here on WVON 1690.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Tell everybody, Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real.
U Chicago Medicine Ingalls Memorial believes a few things. They believe that care that knows your life is care that knows your needs. That world-class care belongs in your neighborhood. That care that listens to you is care that's made for you. From primary and specialty care to emergency department services, comprehensive health care is under one roof in Calumet City, Flossmoor, Harvey, and Tinley Park, providing you and your family the best care possible. Visit uchicago.org/FCC to find what you need close to home.
This Women's History Month, we're amplifying the brilliance, the boldness, and the unapologetic power of women who refuse to whisper. These are the women who roar, the lawmakers, the CEOs who walk into boardrooms and flip the script, the journalists who ask the hard questions, the organizers who move communities from outrage to action. These women are breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and redefining what leadership looks like, fueled by courage and driven by legacy. Listen to Women Who Roar, an exclusive feature on WVON, because quiet was never the assignment.
Every Friday at 3 p.m., I step behind the mic with one mission: to cut through the noise. I'm David Seaton, WVON's only conservative voice, and trust me, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. I'm unapologetically conservative, proudly anti-progressive, and I don't deal in feelings, I deal in facts. If you're looking for sugar-coated opinions, this isn't your stop. But if you want the truth, straight, no chaser, pull up a chair. The David Seaton Show, Fridays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Good Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here is your traffic update. Dan Ryan downtown to 95th. Slow go 26 minutes. I-57, Ryan to I-80, no delays, 14 minutes. Bishop Ford, Ryan to I-80, 94, 2-minute delay, 14 minutes. Stevenson, due South Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic, 32 minutes. Eisenhower, Wolf to Post Office, stop and go traffic, 29 minutes. Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, stop and go traffic, 35 minutes. And Eden's, Montrose Lake, Cook, Smooth Sailing, 15 minutes. The weather for today, Chicago, pleasantly nice day, high 42 and a low of 32. Tomorrow, rain likely, high 43 and a low of 32. It's currently 42 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Logan Page, and that's your traffic and weather update on WVON 1690.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, guys, quick break. The afternoon show is back. We have our very special guest, Joe C. I'm calling him Joe C. Yes, right here on WVON 1690. Joe, you wrote this article on February 27th, and it's almost like a prediction, unless the date is wrong, because this article is very telling. And unless you mention that he may start a war to be a distraction from the growing Epstein files scandal. Also, I'm thinking in terms of the upcoming elections. Did you know this was going to happen?
Well, 2 weeks ago, when they started moving forces into the region, I thought it was a bluff. I thought this was a typical, Donald Trump sort of gangster move, that you pressure somebody you're trying to make a deal with, and they don't make the deal. You say, it's a nice country you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. But then, when the buildup continued, that changed my mind. I mean, you don't move that kind of force into the region without intending to use it. For one thing, it's tremendously expensive. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars just to assemble the force. To use it the way we're using it, now we're talking about tens of billions of dollars to sustain this war effort. So once I saw those forces moving in, I thought, this is it. He's made up his mind. He's going to go. That's why I wrote the article. He's going to war without consultation. Only Congress can authorize a war. It's written into the Constitution. He didn't even bother. It's against international law to go invade, to attack another country. We wrote the UN Charter in 1945. Article 2 of that charter is that a country cannot use force to threaten the territorial integrity or political independence of another country. So this is an illegal war. It's an unnecessary war. Was no imminent threat. And I think it's going to be ultimately be an unsuccessful war. But so you have to start asking yourself, well, why is he doing it? And what I came up to was diversion from the Epstein files, the old wag the dog scenario, rally public opinion around the troops, around the flag, distract attention. And, it's working so far. We're not talking about the Epstein files. They're off the front pages. The problem is you can't sustain this. You can't keep this war going.
This may be an obvious question, but do you think that Congress saw this coming, or is everybody just playing mute right at this point?
Okay, I don't know how you feel about the Democrats, but they're a problematic party, and there are some people in the Dems who are forcing this to a vote. So we're going to get a vote. They return. I'm in Washington, D.C., so they're going to return here tomorrow, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat, has teamed up with Tom Massey, a Republican, same two guys who are behind the release of the Epstein files. They've teamed up to bring a resolution to the floor of the House to debate the authorization for the use of force, they call it. There's going to be that debate. Right now, I think that vote's going to fail. So an effort to stop the war, restrict it, is going to fail. The Republicans are going to block with the president, and you see this from every prominent Republican. And the pro-Israel lobby, which contributes a lot of money to the top Democratic leadership, is going to pressure Dems to peel off and not support it either. So I believe it's going to fail in both the House and the Senate, although I know some Dems feel very, very strongly about this. My Senator, Chris Van Hollen. I just heard from Chris Murphy over in Connecticut. I just was at a conference this morning with Brian Schatz from Hawaii. These guys are dead set against this war, think it's a mistake, it's illegal, it's unauthorized, it's not what Americans want. Only about 20% of the American public supports this war at this point. But this is an imperial presidency. He just doesn't care. And he's got an iron grip on the Republican Party. So he's probably going to be able to survive any congressional challenge.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. We've got Ron on line 2. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, well, I'm an American that supports them. See, I've been listening to programs all day yesterday, and see the Iranian people. There were people in New York say, "Thank you, United States. Thank you, Israel." I don't know where these people come from. The atrocities that were occurring.
What about the
Iran.
Iranians? What about the Iranians in Iran?
This is what they wanted. I know you wasn't gonna cut me off, but it's okay.
I was just asking a question, brother. Go ahead.
The people in Iran, they were trying to get rid of this guy, and they couldn't. But just like when he had to close the border from sexual trafficking, y'all don't support anything that he did. But guess what? You know what? It does not matter. He's the president of the United States. What he has done, 20% people don't support. He is the president. We voted for him, and all I can say, stay the course. Nobody's going to be able to stop that. The man, y'all don't get it.
Okay,
the atrocities that happened in Iran. Oh, no, that's okay. But if it happened here, you feel a certain way.
Yeah, of course we would, Ron. Thank you for the call.
Trump did make a statement that I believe it was Trump that made this statement that 80% of the people in the streets were happy and rejoicing that this had taken place. But I saw the news and it didn't look like that many people were excited about this information.
And that's an oversimplification.
Yeah.
This is so complex.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't done anything to help bolster the so-called the resistance.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything to strengthen their position. Your thoughts?
Well, I understand where Ron's coming from. I mean, this guy was an evil tyrant.
No one feels bad for him.
Right. No one feels bad for him. He and his wife died in the raids. In some ways, the war sort of peaked a couple of hours after it started. This was the reason he launched on Saturday. They saw the opportunity. Bibi Netanyahu came to the president and said they're all going to be at this meeting. Intelligence that we've gathered shows they're going to be here. MBS, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, said to Trump, "This is it. We get to decapitate the leadership." And Trump bought it. And so they strike. And it's an early strike. Usually our military likes to strike at night under the cover of darkness. So you notice this was odd. And it caught the Iranians by surprise and killed the leadership. Here's the problem. Iran is not like Iraq, where Saddam Hussein had an iron grip, one-man rule, or Libya, Gaddafi, one-man rule. You kill the king, the machine crumbles. But Iran is a deep revolutionary, from their point of view, mechanism that goes back decades, that is thousands of people deep at the leadership level, 200,000 people in the Revolutionary Guard sworn to defend the so-called Islamic Revolution, 1 million people in the Bashij, the militias that are there, plus the local police. You got about 2 million people under arms supporting this regime. Who's going to overthrow that? Not unarmed protesters. They tried last month, right? They got slaughtered by small arms fire by these police. So the claim that the idea that we're going to decapitate the leadership and then the people are going to rise up is a complete fantasy. So Ron, I just ask you, I understand the sentiment. Come back in 2 weeks. Check in 2 weeks when you see how this plays out, when the regime change experiment fails.
We want to thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find your writings?
I have a Substack called Strategy and History. So it's, I think just look up Joe Sirin, JoeCirin, Substack.com. That's where I write these days. Thank you very much for having me on.
We really appreciate you. This has been fascinating. Great work.
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
So let's do this, guys. It's 5 o'clock. We got to take a break right at the top of the hour. Tommy, we see you holding, though. We ain't forgot about you. 773-591-1690. Let's keep this conversation going.
Happy Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. More early voting sites open today in Chicago and suburbs. Mendoza endorses Holy Kemp for Illinois comptroller. Clinton's videotape depositions released, and new State Department warning amid Iran conflict. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, WVON 1690, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's BIN News Now.
The NYPD is boosting security at key places in high traffic areas throughout New York City in response to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. Many Iranian Americans flooded New York City streets yesterday, hopeful the latest military action will be a good thing for people in Iran.
People in Iran, they have no freedom. This war is not with the Iranian people. This war is with the regime of Iran.
Meanwhile, there's a 5 p.m. rally planned for Columbus Circle for people who are against the war. There's no end in sight for a partial government shutdown that's left the Department of Homeland Security without funding for more than 2 weeks. Democrats and Republicans are blaming each other for the current shutdown, which is affecting agencies like TSA and the Coast Guard. And after 2 seasons of coaching football at University of Colorado with Deion Sanders, Warren Sapp is leaving the program. The university confirmed his decision and said he wants to pursue other opportunities. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Back to you, Doug.
All right, thanks and happy Monday. Black U.S. Representative and ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Gregory Meeks, tells CNN that Trump's airstrikes against Iran are illegal. There's been a lot of talk about the administration's stance, claiming that Iran posed an imminent threat, while reports argue otherwise. So does Congress have any power to stop the attacks? Meeks said this week lawmakers plan to vote on a war powers resolution.
This resolution is coming on the floor is not an authorization for the utilization of military weapons.
That resolution would direct Trump to end military action against Iran, although he will likely veto if passed. But if Congress does give authorization.
And so that vote will come back to Congress if you want to continue to fund it, and funding that is necessary in 60 days thereafter. So this is a 2-step dance. This is the first step. Let's see where Congress is and where the American people are and their representatives on the record. And then there will come another time for the authorization of utilization of military weapons.
Meeks points to the War Powers Resolution as one of the few tools Congress has left when the president pushes military action without a clear mandate. Meanwhile, some prominent Black anti-Trump activists believe the president's military strikes on Iran are less about national security and more about rallying the Republican base ahead of a tough midterm election. Some of us recall Trump saying this about President Obama and negotiations with Iran back in 2011, when the nation's first Black president was running for a second term in office.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
Trump wrote at least 7 times between 2011 and 2013 on social media that Obama would attack Iran in order to get reelected. It's important to note that former President Obama held back while Trump did not, and that President Trump has been teasing about another third term in office. And finally, Iranian officials say talks are off with the U.S. and or Israel after airstrikes that killed the nation's supreme leader and more than 550 people across Iran and Lebanon. Americans lost just 4 soldiers and 3 fighter jets in Kuwait strikes. Now, with Trump signaling weeks of attacks ahead, Iran says it will not bow down and vows revenge by continuing to attack U.S. military bases in the region. It will match Trump's campaign and warns that the U.S. and Israel will pay a heavy price for their actions. Stay connected and subscribe and follow BIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm Doug Davis for the Black Information Network. Have a great Monday, and of course, stay warm and safe out there.
Hey everybody, it's Melody Span Cooper. We are all saddened by the loss of Reverend Jesse Jackson. He was family here at VON, and we are celebrating his life appropriately. 2013 was the 50th anniversary of the historic March on Washington. To mark the occasion, I asked Reverend if he would sit down with me for an interview. What he gave me was pure gold. Now, as we prepare to celebrate his life and legacy, I'm going to rebroadcast it just for you. You'll see why Chicago, the nation, and the world is celebrating the country preacher. Listen Wednesday, March 4th at 8 a.m. and an encore presentation Thursday at 5 p.m. It's an exclusive feature of your history-making station, WVON, the Talk of Chicago.
It is my life. It is my ministry. It says the dignity is non-negotiable. I can't imagine not fighting for justice or preaching a sermon that does not involve the contemporary issues of our time. I cannot fight. I cannot accept us putting forward so much and getting so little in return. And so it has changed. It has transformed my life. It is defined my ministry, and it is in some sense defined what I find worth living and are dying for.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
I saw a meme that said America will come and get you. When it's about the oil, they bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela, they've got oil. And they even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman.
What a great setup.
That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Aleve. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout the day. With just one pill, A leaf lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches and pains hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on Chicago's Essential Storyteller, 1690 WVON.
March is Women's History Month, and we are celebrating the women who roar, the leaders who challenge systems, the innovators who disrupt industries, the athletes who make history, the journalists who demand accountability, the entrepreneurs who build from the ground up. They're bold, they're brilliant, and they're not asking for permission. We're spotlighting women who are breaking barriers and building legacy in every lane. Tune in all month long for Women Who Roar, because quiet was never the assignment.
All right, we are back on the afternoon show. Atiba Buchanan, LaDonna Ray. If you're just joining us, boy, have you missed it. Oh, my goodness. We've talked about the Ghana Fest that's coming up soon and raising the flag.
Yeah.
And they really did help us to connect, right?
Mhm.
Just even in that conversation.
Yeah, because the first thing I was thinking about when you told me about that was, okay, if a regular Chicagoan would probably say, what does that have to do with me?
Yeah.
But they bridged the gap. It has everything to do with us as a whole, because now we can get connected to traditions and culture and history. And I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about, what do the history books say over there? They don't
And-
start with slavery.
That's right.
Mhm.
And there's a country that is willing to call this, that we can call home,
Yep.
right?
Get your citizenship.
Come on.
Mhm.
Your dual citizenship.
Right.
So
That works.
yeah, it's been a fantastic show. Roderick Wilson from the LaGuardia Burns Hope Center gave us a call today to talk about the resistance to the 78 project with the Chicago fire.
Yeah.
So you guys we're going to keep you posted on that as well. And then we had two amazing guests talk about the war in Iran. We're going to continue the conversation because you guys keep calling. So we thank you for it. We've got Tommy on line one. I wanted to hold you over, Tommy, because I didn't want to rush you. So thanks so much for calling our show.
Let me say this to both of you, LaDonna and Atiba. It is now your time. Principled, individual, culture-bearing blacks must now fill the void. Living history has died. How do you know? This man is the only black person that went into the world and brought back captive prisoners of his country. And he's been minimized to, as Melody said so eloquently, the country preacher. He is a statesman who should have the honors that is afforded to individuals who has done what he's done. But the reason why we're going through this is because up with hope, down with dope. In order for you to understand any of the acronyms from Dr. King, from Reverend Jackson, from the minister Elijah, I said his name wrong. But you know exactly who I'm talking about. Minister Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I seen him speak. I am not a Muslim. My father was in World War II. He, not my father, but my aunt's husband was in World War II. That's when I found out all of that, when I get the notice to go into the draft. Let me bring this home. What you are seeing, when they went into Venezuela, that was the practice run for individuals who had not been under live fire. When you doing war games, oh, it's fun and games, baby. When you see the might of this country, you feel just like any other soldier in any other country. There is no way you can lose until you hit the ground and find out real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh yeah, you can lose because watch this, people. Explain to me Why is 3 of our airmen dead? Why are 3 of our military servicemen dead? Do you know how much money they spend for one of these pilots to fly an F-18? Do you know how many years they have to train and they are lost for no just cause? And then we come back to America and you sitting up and running around here not understanding a simple narrative. It has always been about empire. I don't care what country you come from. If you don't have an army, if you don't have a navy, if you don't have a Marines, if you don't have collaboration with someone who can back you up, out. That's what it is. That's where we are. And I end with this. Pick me up when I'm down. Set my feet on solid ground. Help me to realize that my life, it is worthwhile. I have the spirit of Reverend Jackson, Reverend King. I have the spirit of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I have the spirit of Malcolm X. I have the spirit of who is still here with us today in the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. I have the spirit of all those who come under some religious faction talking about black. Ron is one of these individuals that led people through the continent. These individuals calling this radio station with all of this nonsense, anytime you can come up with a situation that allows you to put people who've got nothing to do with your personal feelings into jeopardy, they are sitting up, talking and bolstering, and we are the guinea pigs. Now, if that ain't enough to turn a Negro black, then I just need to say one last thing. I come from the greatest city on the face of the earth, because on this city, it has nothing but heroes, including the house that I'm sitting in. Because the individuals who are here, one of them is a historian from World War II. And because you don't know anything about World War II, I promise you I'm closing. The United States of America created NATO. So how the hell is NATO going to tell America what to do? Watch this. Russia, China, Japan was all bailed out by the United States from the land lease program. Look it up. It's right in your national archives. Goodbye. Thank you for the time. If you two don't do it, if the individuals down at that radio station, young, old, alike, there is no more excuses for an individual to say that they cannot look at someone right in their community who is living a principled life. Now run and tell that.
Thank you, good sir. Tommy.
You know, I looked at the updates just to see if the death toll had risen. And unfortunately, according to CBS News, live update shows that the U.S. death toll in Iran war dated March 2nd rises to 6 as Trump says campaign could last 5 weeks. Now, there's been some backlash, if I cannot say backlash, in Austin, Texas. My son lives in Houston, Texas. Of course, when I hear Texas, my ears peak. There was what was referred to as a mass shooting. And this is what they know about this particular gunman. Apparently, he opened fire outside a bar in Austin. This is the West 6th Street Entertainment District. Shortly after 2 a.m. yesterday morning, killing 2 people and injuring 14 others. Ooh. Now they have you heard just hearsay, starting off with, is this related? What do we know about this? But the current information that's known about this is very limited unless they are still investigating. But here's what the main headlines show. A gunman identified as Austin PD, by Austin PD is 53-year-old, I don't know how to say his name, but it's Niaga. It looks like Diagne opened fire at the bar near the intersection near West 6th Street, and that was at 2 a.m. 2 people were killed. That's what they know. 14 others were taken to the hospital. That's what they know. And there was a press conference today at 1 o'clock. We didn't get to see that, but law enforcement officers were seen at his home doing a thorough investigation. So
is he alive or dead?
Oh, he's gone.
Killed by police?
Didn't say if it was self-inflicted or if they killed him, but I can dig a little bit deeper.
We'll dig a little bit deeper. We'll see what happens from that and see if there's any type of correlation or connection. It's 5/18 actually. So guys, let's put a button on this conversation on the other side. We'll read some of your Facebook comments. They've been great. And we still have time to talk about this 773-591-1690. This is my question to you.
Mhm.
Is this America's war or is this Israel's war?
Wait, which America? Black America or white America?
America, period.
Okay.
I ain't even making it. Is this America's war or is this Israel's war? I want to hear from you. We'll be right back.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When your body needs real nourishment, don't settle for ordinary supplements. At the Aloe Shop, we believe wellness starts with nature. That's why our premium aloe and nutritional products are crafted with the highest standards, pure, potent, and made to support your health from the inside out. From digestion and energy to immune support, the Aloe Shop helps you feel your best every day. The Aloe Shop at 117 East 95th Street in Chicago. Call 866-256-3747 or reach us online at thealoeshop.com. Come on in and get healthy. Now available at Living Fresh Market in Forest Park and at Pete's Market throughout Chicagoland.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, it's Cleopatra Draper. Join me for the Midday Show weekdays at 9 a.m. where we'll sip and spill all the tea. Do you want it hot or cold? Either way, we're serving up the flavor of the day. Weekdays at 9 a.m. right here on the station giving you what's now and what's next. 1690 WVON.
Community Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Discover a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026.
This report is brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone, get in the zone. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Catch a new episode of Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Vaughn TV. In this powerful conversation, Rufus sits down with Anjanette Young, author of Past the Pain, for a raw and honest discussion about trauma, accountability, and what it truly takes to reclaim your life when the system fails you. Stream it now on Vaughn TV, available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at VON.TV.
All right. Listen, we're back and we're putting a button on this conversation. I definitely have some thoughts on it.
Well, you know what? There was another bullet point. I didn't get to it, but it's just the one about this possibly being terrorist related. But it says the FBI is taking the lead on the investigation. According to the mayor's office, there are indicators of terrorism, the FBI said in a press conference on Sunday.
Okay. We will definitely keep our eyes on that story and report back if there's any new developments. But here's where I stand. I guess I'm just really confused because the goalpost continues to move. I thought we were trying to be kind of isolationist, worried about America first, not starting any new, not getting, because here's the thing. What has Iran done to us? I don't know what the threat is. They don't have any missiles that can reach America. They don't have any nuclear weapons. As Trump said, this part is probably accurate. This could be over in 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It's a formidable country, but nobody is formidable compared to us, especially when we partner with Israel, who is nearer to the region. So,
do you think we were used? Do you think that they used us? Convinced Trump that we need to go in there.
We're useful idiots, though.
Yeah, well, of course.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, absolutely yes. And that's why I asked the question before we went to break. Whose war is this?
Right.
The only person that's really clicking their heels in this situation is Benjamin Netanyahu. And I get why he's motivated to do that. I just don't understand how it serves American interests. How did it make me safer? One thing that I didn't get a chance to ask either one of the guests, it's a real simple question. Was it a mistake to pull out of the Iran deal, the nuclear deal that President Obama had put in place? That was a 10-year deal to ensure that they would not develop a nuclear weapon. And they were adhering to the terms of the deal. When Trump became president the first time, he just basically ripped it up and said, we're done.
And they were like, we're done.
Right. And so we haven't been like that. We lost a lot of credibility with that. But even still, they were still negotiating us seemingly in good faith for yet another nuclear deal. Here's another simple question. This is just me. I just don't know. And maybe one of our esteemed callers can tell me. Why can't Iran have a weapon? Why is it that certain countries can't have a weapon? I'm talking about a nuclear weapon.
I know what you mean.
Israel has all the nuclear bombs. They got all the warheads they want. They can stomach.
Are they kind of like, are they level with us? Are we the top 2 countries with the most weapons?
That's in Russia.
Okay.
That's in Russia.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Because thing, when you to your point, I'm thinking about how we don't have any military bases in Iran whatsoever, but we have them in all the surrounding countries.
Yeah.
So now Iran is, I guess, forced to attack those countries because that's where our military, right, where our military bases are. But to your point, why does it matter? Doesn't every country have the right to protect themselves? That's
all I'm asking. I'm not rooting for them to get a weapon. None of that. I'm just asking what seems to me to be a very obvious question. Kim Jong-un, he got his nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
And you ain't heard nobody talk about him since.
Yeah, he got balloons.
Right.
He's sending over to the US.
Listen, they know not to mess with him.
Right.
And so I'm just wondering, because the only time that I've ever seen people offer resistance to someone having a nuclear weapon, it's a brown country. Could be a coincidence, could have nothing to do with it. I don't know. All I'm trying to figure out is, how do we say, it's one thing for us to say we don't want them to have a weapon. It's another thing for us to say they can't have a weapon.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out who gave us that authority. That we can tell another sovereign country what they can and cannot have. Because if somebody told the United States what we couldn't have, oh my God. So I just wonder. I don't know how that just got to be such a normal part of the discussion that they just can't have a nuclear weapon. I'm not rooting for them. I'm just saying.
You started off this segment with that clip where Trump said that he wouldn't be interested in wasting billions of dollars on something like a war. We have internal, addresses that we have to make. But I think something happens when you put on that ring. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings. When you put the ring on, that power and you get it and you just can't wait to push a button. And it seems like that's what we're seeing. I spoke to someone in confidence early. I don't want to say in confidence, but it was a family member of mine. And I had made a discovery. I found out that my aunt, or I guess I realized that my aunt was not only the secretary to Clay Evans, but to Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. And I was talking to him about that. And he brought up this whole, what's happening with should I say United States and Iran. And he was in support of what's happening with the United States joining forces with Israel. I didn't get to ask him the question you're asking, and that's whose war is this? And he was in the military. So there's some type of outcome that I'm hoping we can gain a benefit from. But other than that, I'm just not for war at all. I know we have to do it. I still don't understand why it has to be us and Israel against a country that was, in my opinion, minding their own business. But there's more to be redeemed later on, I'm sure.
Indeed. All right, guys. It's just shy of 5:30, so we're going to take a real quick break for traffic and weather. Before we do, Zaviola said, this is ignorance, evil, political money led and a sinister war. I'm uplifting peace and praying for our armed forces and all the families affected. We thank you for that. Donald Greer said, no, it's Trump's war. Okay. So again, we appreciate the Facebook comments you guys got coming in. Please keep them coming. Lorenzo says, Hitler used the slogan, quote, make Germany great again. If that's not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. A lot of parallels here.
He wasn't even German.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a real quick break for traffic and weather, but more of the afternoon show. We got another great guest on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
In a world that often asks women to soften their tone, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley sharpened hers. Representing Massachusetts' 7th District, she didn't arrive in Washington to blend in. She came to challenge systems that were never built with everyone in mind. From criminal justice reform to student debt relief, from reproductive rights to economic equity, Pressley speaks with clarity, conviction, and lived experience. She has said that the people closest to the pain should be closest to the power. And she governs like she believes it. Unapologetic, unfiltered, unwavering. Ayanna Pressley doesn't roar for attention. She roars for accountability, for justice, for those too often unheard. And when she speaks, the conversation shifts. Ayanna Pressley is a woman who roars.
Attention nonprofit organizations. In times of crisis, communication and community are critical. That's why WVON is partnering with the Chicago Community Trust, a philanthropic organization to help local nonprofits respond effectively during crisis moments. We'll be providing practical communication strategies to help organizations navigate challenges, protect trust, and continue serving our neighborhoods with clarity and purpose. To learn more about Meeting the Moment, visit WVON.com/meeting the moment. Strong communication isn't just helpful, it's essential. Make sure your message is heard when it matters most. Meeting the Moment is powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Hope you're having a marvelous Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. More early voting locations are open today in Chicago. In the Cook County suburbs, voting sites in 50 city wards are open, along with 55 locations in suburban Cook County. Voters already have been able to cast their ballots at the Chicago Board of Elections office at 69 West Washington and the downtown supersite at 137 South State Street. Voters who desire to vote by mail can still sign up for a mail-in ballot. The deadline to apply is 5 p.m. on March 12th. Election day is March 17th. In other news, Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza is endorsing Lake County Treasurer Holly Kim to succeed her as the state's top fiscal officer. Mendoza praised Kim's experience and independence, noting her prior service on a banking commission overseen by the Comptroller's office. Kim faces a competitive primary against 3 Democratic state lawmakers. Mendoza, who announced plans to step down last year, is considering a possible run for Chicago mayor in 2027. In other news, videotaped depositions of Bill and Hillary Clinton before the House committee investigating Jeffrey Epstein have been made public. Hillary Clinton said Republicans focus on unrelated topics, including UFOs and conspiracy theories. Republican member Nancy Mace claimed Clinton appeared unhinged at times, while committee chairman James Comer said the committee learned a lot but offered no further details. And a large study in the U.S. has found that eating red meat in large amounts may be linked to a higher risk of developing diabetes. Mark Mayfield reports.
The study also found that substituting red meat with plant-based proteins or other healthier protein sources could reduce the risk by as much as 14%. The results were published in the British Journal of Nutrition. The study's data comes from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. Researchers found that individuals with the highest meat intake had a nearly 50% greater risk of developing diabetes. I'm Mark Mayfield.
I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
We got my man TC Carson in the studio with us. What's going on, brother?
What's happening?
Hey, Joy Reid, how you doing?
Brother Matt, how are you, my friend? It is good to talk to you again.
Marlon Wayans, what's up, brother? Welcome back to WVON.
What's up, brother? I'm good.
We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON is more than a radio station. We're your connection to Black America. That means we're everywhere. On Facebook at WVON, on Instagram at WVON, and on the WVON app. WVON is everywhere.
This report is brought to you by ComEd, powering lives. Here's a great savings idea. Did you know you've got the power to manage your energy? Yep, from usage alerts to energy savings programs and more. ComEd has all kinds of ideas to help you gain control over your energy cost. Find out more at ComEd.com/energy savings.
I'm Sally, a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs. Excuse me, hi. What do you think this place needs?
I'd like to see more parking.
More playgrounds.
Free movies.
That's easy. Better restaurants.
And you, what do you think this place needs?
This place? More ice cream trucks.
Okay. How about you?
Wi-Fi everywhere?
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
Oh, that's way better.
Now that you mention it.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Good Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here is your traffic update. Dan Ryan, downtown to 95th. Stop and go traffic, 20 minutes. I-57, Ryan to I-80. Please be cautious. There is an accident. I-57th at 167th Street, 17 minutes. Bishop Ford, Ryan to I-80, 94. A minute delay, 13 minutes. Stevenson, due South Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State. Stop and go traffic, 31 minutes. Eisenhower, Wolf Topo stop is slow go, 29 minutes. Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare. Stop and go traffic, 37 minutes. And Eden's, Montrose, Lake Cook. Smooth sailing, 15 minutes. Your weather for today, Chicago. Pleasant day, high of 42 and a low of 32. Tomorrow, rain likely, high 43. and a low of 32. It's currently 38 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Logan Page, and that's your traffic and weather update on WVON 1690.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, let's jump to it. You know, during this time of remembrance for Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., we invite you to download the WVON app and use the open mic feature to leave a message for the Jackson family, whether it's a prayer, a memory, or a word of gratitude for a life that helped shape our community. Your voice matters. Let them hear how his legacy touched you. Download the WVON app today and use the open mic feature to leave your message of love and support. You know, I was driving down Stony Island and I noticed that they put up some banners every other one. I believe if I have them, it's 3 different ones. It's Keep Hope Alive. I actually wrote them down, but there's 3 different banners for Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., just honoring him on Stony Island. You'll see those flags up high.
All right. So I love that you played Aretha Franklin, Matt, because this is a great conversation to have about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which she's already in. She's always, whenever Rolling Stones, whenever they do the top 50, 100 singers, she's been number 1 for God knows how long. But there's some new inductees for 2026. And I think 6 or 7 of those are African-American acts, and then I think there's 11 total, or 13 total, but only 7 get in.
Mm-hmm.
Our good friend, well, he's not our friend, but
he might be.
Right, we'd like him to be our friend. Toure, who used to write for Rolling Stone, right? He has a podcast now and a very strong Instagram presence, but he has a quick clip that we want to play that kind of highlights the quandary that we find ourselves in, because let me tell you, every Black act and every act that they're saying should be in the Hall of Fame probably should be in the Hall of Fame. So how do you pick when it's the best of the best? Let's hear it.
Oh my God, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame voting this year is going to be heartbreaking for somebody. There's a lot of incredible names nominated this year. Lauryn Hill, Sade, New Edition, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan, Mariah Carey. Okay, all of them are Hall of Fame worthy, but there's 6 acts there and only 7 go in. I voted for everybody Black. Lauryn Hill, Sade, Wu-Tang, Mariah, New Edition, Luther, and then In Excess. But only 7 acts are getting in. And most of the voters are older white men. And some of their heroes are on the ballot too. I think you gotta think of these people as a lock to get in. Oasis, Phil Collins, Melissa Etheridge, Jeff Buckley. There's also Joy Division New Order, Billy Idol, and Shakira. Let's say only 3 of that group gets in, and it's probably going to be 4 of that group. So that means it could be just 3 out of the group of New Edition, Lauryn Hill, Sade, Luther, Wu-Tang Clan, Mariah. I think Wu-Tang is a lock. I think Mariah is a lock. I think for sure Lauryn is a lock. But that means Sade is left out again. Is Luther Vandross left out? I don't think New Edition is getting in this year. And they're like an all-star group. I think it's going to be like...
All right. We get the point.
His voice is interesting.
We get the point.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to defer to you, Miss LaDonna. We got Lauryn Hill, Sade, New Edition, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang, and Mariah Carey. Of those 6, which 3, if you had to pick 3, would just be automatic lock, should not be denied?
I say Luther Vandross, Lauryn Hill, and I don't like thinking based on where they're going, because I would easily put Wu-Tang in there. The only problem is I don't think they would make it. I really don't.
He said they're a lock.
That's what he said. But in my opinion, I just don't think they would make it. So
Yeah.
I would have to say Mariah Carey, Luther Vandross, and I'd have to, oh gosh, I love New Edition. I love New Edition, and they made a great comeback. But I think Lauryn Hill needs to go in there quick.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me first of all, the phone lines are open. We want to hear from you, 773-591-1690. Which of these, of the acts we just said, Luther, Lauryn Hill, Sade, New Edition, Wu-Tang, and Mariah, is there anybody that you hear here that just should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, at least right now? All right, we want to hear your opinions on that, or who you think is a lock, who you think should definitely be in. And feel free to put it in the chat as well. Here's my thoughts. Lauryn Hill, absolutely not.
What?
Sorry. Just apps. And I'm not a Lauryn Hill hater. I love Lauryn Hill. She is immensely talented, but I am saying this for a reason. One album.
I know, but still, but she
hold
was
on.
shut down. If you
Hold
know the
on.
story.
Hold on. You cooked. Let me cook.
Okay.
Give me a second. One album.
Yep, you're
I'm
right.
sorry.
You're right.
And the second album, if you can call it that, was horrific. Her playing the guitar after 6 lessons. Please, that was not cool. And again, that does you want to include her time with the Fugees, but I think it was still talking about an album. Like I can't do it. I cannot do Lauryn Hill.
Just move on.
Moving on, Sade, that's a lock for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it isn't a lock, no, that's a lock for me.
Mm-hmm.
Luther Vandross, I'm stunned he's not already in it.
Right.
What is this
that
about?
too.
What is this about?
Yeah.
How many platinum albums does one need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, he can point to a certain percentage of the population that is alive because people are making love to his music.
No,
come on, like Luther, not a lock. How he's not in, I don't know. Another one, not for me. Wu-Tang. I'm sorry, just it's too many people. It's too inconsistent. You can't name 5 songs.
So can you name your 3 people?
I'm going through the list. I'm getting there. So my 3 people are Sade, Luther Vandross, and Mariah Carey.
Okay.
And you know how I feel about New Edition, but Mariah Carey, again, another multiple platinum albums, the biggest selling Christmas song in history.
Yep.
How she's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now is beyond me. So again, I'm not the biggest Mariah Carey fan, but I gotta give her
Give it to her.
Yeah, I gotta give her
definitely.
that. Let's see, we got David on line 1.
Hey David, make it count.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Of course.
Who you got?
Hey, so Antiva, I got to go with you on this one, man. I mean, no way in the world, Luther Vandross, hands down.
Hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most votes out of all of them. Okay, I'm serious. And then Sade, I would take Sade over Lauryn Hill. Yes, I would.
I'm with you, bro. Sade is a solid
and I would take,
10 albums.
And I would take Mariah Carey, because if Whitney Houston was still alive today, I don't know if she made it but I know she would be in there for sure.
Oh no, did she?
Whitney Houston.
So you said Mariah, you said Luther, and Sade.
Now I would take New Edition over Wu-Tang.
Me too.
If it was a 4th choice, because New Edition got more hits.
They got more hits, more time. They started in '83.
They got more time in the game.
Yeah.
And who's the other person? It was a Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill's cool, but she ain't got no hits out like the New Edition. Now they ain't got no hits like that. And Luther, nah, she ain't in that league.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. We're just up on a break, but Al, we see you holding. Phone lines are still open, 773-591-1690. J.S. Smith says Phil Collins and New Edition are leading in votes. New Edition's coming fresh off that tour.
I love me some Phil Collins.
So Phil Collins bad.
Yeah,
Listen,
he
I ain't got nothing to say about Phil Collins.
Simply Red. I like those 2.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. You're listening to Atiba and LaDonna Ray. Give us a call.
More from Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This Women's History Month, we're amplifying the brilliance, the boldness, and the unapologetic power of women who refuse to whisper. These are the women who roar, the lawmakers, the CEOs who walk into boardrooms and flip the script, the journalists who ask the hard questions, the organizers who move communities from outrage to action. These women are breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and redefining what leadership looks like, fueled by courage and driven by legacy. Listen to Women Who Roar, an exclusive feature on WVON, because quiet was never the assignment.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Meals from those years are hard to forget. It was all white bread and whole milk, hamburger casseroles, and quiche Lorraines, all with a side of cigarettes. We ate salads as desserts. We knew a party was classy if it had a cheese log, and we never missed an after-dinner smoke. It didn't matter if we were in our dining rooms, a burger joint, or the ritziest of restaurants. There'd be an ashtray on every table, and that very particular flavor in every meal. We smoked for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's amazing that our food could taste like anything else. If that was you then, get your lungs screened now. Surviving lung cancer starts with a scan. Learn more at screenyourlungs.org. This PSA was made possible by industry funding and guidance from lung cancer patient groups.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Good Monday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national traffic in Chicago. Dan Ryan downtown on 95th, stop and go traffic, 20 minutes, I-57, Ryan to I-80. Please be cautious. There is an accident, I-57th at 167th Street, 15 minutes. Bishop Ford, Ryan to I-80, 94, no delays, 13 minutes. Stevenson, due Sub Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, stop and go traffic, 35 minutes. Eisenhower, Wolfville Post Office, slow go, 25 minutes. Kennedy downtown to O'Hare, stop and go traffic, 33 minutes. And Edens, Montrose, Slay Cook, smooth sailing, 15 minutes. Weather for today, Chicago, pleasant day, high 42 and a low of 32. Tomorrow, rain likely, high 43 and a low of 32. It's currently 38 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Logan Page, and that's your traffic and weather update on WVON 1690.
Now back to Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Brooklyn in the house, uptown in the house, Charlotte, are you in the house, Boogie Down, are you in the house, Sacramento in the house, Atlanta, Georgia, are you in the house, West Coast, are you in the house, Japan, are you in the house, everybody, are you in the house, baby, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, come on.
This is my part. Yeah, I like that. Welcome back to WVON 1690. We are just wrapping up just about the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Let us know how we did today. It's Monday, and your comments matter. Make sure you put the comments in the comments section so we can read the comments for the comments that, okay, I said it enough. And we're going to get to these callers before we head out.
Let's do it. Al, thank you for calling.
Hey, Al.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fantastic. Who you got for the Hall of Fame?
First of all, I don't know how Lauryn Hill even got on there. I heard her say, Lauryn, I was drinking a bottle of water. I almost choked. When she said Lauryn Hill, I said, my God, how you do one album? And Wycliffe wrote that album. She ain't had nothing to do with that. But anyway.
Listen, I feel sorry for Lauren. Forgive me, okay?
Well,
I really
you got
do.
nominated. So, hey. Well, you got Luther. Gotta have Luther. Consummate entertainer, probably the best male voice we've probably ever heard. And if you ever saw Luther live, he was a consummate entertainer. He danced. Had the whole band up there with him.
The background singers in their jewelry encrusted dresses and tuxedos.
Gotta go with Luther.
Yeah.
You gotta go with New Edition. They've been doing it since the early 80s, and they still putting out hits. Still doing it.
Yeah.
Still selling out the United Center. And since the early 80s. And I gotta go with Sade. She don't have a whole lot of body of work, but she's just class personified and just, I don't know something about that woman. It's just, I don't know what it is.
That's what everybody, they've been saying that about Sade for 50 years.
It just drives
right?
me up a wall. I see that lady.
It's just something about that woman.
Yeah. So those are my three of the, like Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang, I don't know much about them. But yeah, those would be my three.
All right. Thank you, brother. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
Let's
you.
take us home on this, D.
Hey, D.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for calling.
No problem. So I'm going to go with what you said, Atiba, with Luther, Sade, and Mariah in that order.
Yeah.
Luther is just unmatched, in my opinion, unmatched. And Sade, that woman sounds like heaven to me. And I'm not really a fan of Mariah, but I got to give credit where credit is due. The woman has so many albums sold until I'm sure she's broken some records. So, yeah, that's who I'm going with.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you for agreeing with Atiba.
It don't happen every day, but it happens today. It happens today, and I appreciate it. I know music.
That was good.
J.S. Smith said the top 7: Phil Collins, New Edition, Pink. I didn't know she was up for it.
Right.
Okay, Luther Vandross, Billy Idol, NXS, and Sade.
Now, you remember when Pink started off doing R&B and then she flipped.
Oh, yeah, when she started off black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
She ran away so fast,
She
boy.
did.
Oh,
she
my.
never wanted to do that. She wanted to be a pop star.
Was it Jermaine Dupri that had her like that, or was it LaFace Records?
I feel like it was LaFace.
I feel like it was, I feel like it was LaFace. And not Babyface, the other guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now.
Thanks.
What's his name? Because he's the one that was married to Karen White. LA,
Yeah,
right? LA Reid or
yeah,
LA something.
Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like that was him.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,
They
she's
had to
up.
they had to get her, she had to get her foot in the door.
Yeah.
And then she just busted out.
No better way to do it than to be black for a little while.
Lots of people do it.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But if Luther Vandross is not, I'm protesting if he's not in it. I don't understand how he's not in this already. New Edition, again, you know how I feel about them. I love New Edition, but if they didn't make it this go round for Sade, or what was the other one?
You got Lauryn Hill, Sade, New Edition, Mariah Carey, Wu-Tang, and Luther.
I got to go with Mariah just because of the record sales.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't deny that number. I mean, she sold so many records. In the 90s, she was untouchable. When she did the Butterfly album and that had My All on and all them other songs, untouchable. William, thanks for calling, bro. Who you got?
Okay. I go along with you with Luther, Sade, and which was the other one now?
Mariah.
Three. Yeah, with Mariah. And I think I heard you mention Simply Red.
No, I mentioned that because during the Phil Collins era that I was listening to Phil Collins, I was also listening to Simply Red.
That's the other white group.
Okay. The thing I was going to say about him, though, is that under his real name, because I guess that was the name of the group, but he put out an album dedicated to Bobby Bland. I guess.
Really?
It's I can't think of the name of the album, but he's got covers of Bobby Bland. He does a real nice job on it.
I will take
Yeah.
a listen to that. This has
Yeah.
been worth it just to learn that little nugget. Thank you for that, Mr.
Yeah,
William.
that is good information.
Okay.
We appreciate you, brother.
All right, guys, it's coming close to that time, and tomorrow we will be back and we'll be talking about making an informed decision during this upcoming election, and also we will be talking to a professor. Actually, I got to pull his name, but we will be talking about how the marriage decline affects the Black family. So stay tuned for that. We will be back tomorrow, and just to give you a little bit of a hint. It is Professor Ralph Richard Banks. He's a professor of law at Stanford Law School. And of course, we will be talking to Mitchell Armentrout about making an informed decision in this upcoming election.
All right, we're going to take you home with a little Sade.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on.
That's good.
There we go. If I tell you now. I'm with my guy William. It's just something about this woman.
Yeah. She still looks the same.
Yeah, she looks amazing. All right, guys, be safe, be kind.
All right, guys. Bye-bye for now.
If I tell you now.